I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, applied myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for another episode. What a great week one has been. A lot of upsets, well, a couple upsets, won't say a lot, but a couple upsets, couple blowouts, just really good football in general. We got one more game tonight. I already previewed it yesterday, so if you missed that, go check that out. It's under the same preview. I think it's called Extra Football. I did Sunday and Monday together. Monday night recap will be tonight after the game, and major performances will be at the on the Monday night football episode, just to give it a little bit more time. We're going to do major performances in the Boston College, Florida State recap together. But this one is going to be recapping Thursday to Sunday. The games I preview, we're going to recap them. We're going to talk about them. I got somebody coming on for the Saturday and Sunday games. Thursday, Fridays is going to be me solo. But before I do that, I got to shout out the network. Shout out Refuse to Lose. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Helps the channel. It helps the network. It helps my channel, Carl Talking College, by way of the Refuse to Lose network. We also got the main show who went live and had a piece of what CTC do. They previewed 9 teams. They kind of sped through them. They did Eagles. I'm not going to remember them all, but I know they did the Eagles. They did the Texans. They did the Jags. They did the Colts. They did the Bengals. They did the Packers, Lions, Vikings. And I want to say the Bears. I think I got on 9. So shout out. Hold on. But shout out them. But then we got BWT, Baseball with Teddy. All your baseball goes through the BWT. Teddy, Yankees fan, baseball content. Tigers play the Padres tonight. We need the W. We need the W for sure. Then you have FFC Fantasy Football with Coach Coombs, which I hear a lot of people got something to say to Coach. I don't know what happened, but I just know people got something to say to him. I'm interested to know what y'all got to say to him as well. But all your fantasy football news updates go through him. We have Dave's Doghouse, highlights and lowlights of sport, where he makes dogs and put dogs in the doghouse. I mean, there's a lot of highlights that happened today. Well, not even today. This week in college football, from the Kyron Hudson catch to the interception by the Robert Morris defensive back. Just a lot of highlights in college football. Double pass in the North Texas game. Just a lot. Then we have RBO, Real Ballers Only, featuring Vaughn. NBA content goes through there. He does Magic content. He's a Magic fan. He does all NBA teams. He talks about teams that the media don't necessarily want to talk about. Try to get them that shine. He talks about teams that the media talk about too, but he's trying to get shine to other teams and players as well. We have in the Red Corner, boxing show, all boxing news and updates through them. We have Kings Talk with Joe Jordan. All Sacramento Kings content goes through Joe. And last but certainly not least, we have Unfazed with Joe and AJ, believed to be a debate formatted show. New show. First episode was last Tuesday. I believe they go live every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. I mean, I say that because Joe's on the Eastern time zone, and AJ is in the Central time zone. So there's that. And I believe that is all the shows the network has to offer. So please, like, comment, share, subscribe with all those shows. If you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now, before I get into Thursday games, I do got to go into the comments. First comment, Joe with the he put the eye with the clock. Yeah, bro. I was finishing up my banners and finishing up my last little notes. My bad. I was a little late. And I ain't gonna lie, I had to turn the ceiling fan on there. It's hot in here. I just had some pre-game stuff to do. And y'all used to it. Don't do me like that. Then he put the fire emojis. Appreciate it. Then Dave with the let's go under his Healing the Mental YouTube channel. Then shout out first time listener. Never seen you before, but I hope you can stick with me. Donovan Halal. He says, yo, shout out to you, bro. And then we got T-Mac is a dog from Joe. So shout out to all the comments. But let's get into these Thursday games. And I'm going to kick it off with the disappointing game for me, which was Jack State and Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina winning the game 55-27. I was very disappointed in Jack State's performance. I know they lost to Coastal Carolina the year prior, but I thought they'd come out a little bit better. Honestly, if we're going to be completely honest, the game was close because Coastal fumbled, running back dove over Powell at like midfield, unnecessary. I know he was trying to get the first, but he had to do it. But Coastal kind of made mistakes. Jack State just made them right back. It was just a bad game. But let's get into what happened. So Coastal starts the game with a 25-yard field goal. They drive down the field, kick a field goal. Jack State would then start with a 3-and-out punt, get nothing done. And that's the thing with Jack State offense. They're a very fast-paced, high tempo. But when they go 3-and-out, it barely takes any time off the clock. And it just creates more and more possessions for teams to score if you're not doing anything. Coastal Carolina, Javon Simpkins fumbles. That's the fumble I was talking about where he tried to jump over the Powell. He fumbled, which led to a Jack State recovery, leads to a 44-yard field goal. Then Coastal would then score a 36 Trey Taylor touchdown catch, just burned up the defense. Jack State, Logan Smothers fumbles, another turnover by Jack State, which would lead to a C-Lev Lubin scoop and score. Clev Lubin, he picks it up and scores. He barely made it in the end zone, but he got in. Jack State, Taylor Huff, there would be a quarterback change, and Taylor Huff would then throw an interception as soon as the thing with a quarterback change happened, but Ethan Vasco would match him and throw an interception of his own. But then Jack State would just punt the ball, 3-and-out punt. Coastal Carolina would then take that punt and score a 4-yard touchdown with Ethan Vasco on the ground, which was set up by another Trey Taylor bomb, this one from 59 yards out. With 2:20 left in the second quarter, Braden Bennett, the running back for Coastal Carolina, would score a 2-yard touchdown. That was set up by a face mask and a defensive pass interference. Jack State would then score a 1-yard Cole Fuller touchdown run. That was set up by a Trey Stewart 17-yard catch. Jack State would then start the second half with a 3-and-out punt, so any chance of double dipping was instantly ruined. Coastal Carolina would start the second half with a 2-yard Braden Bennett touchdown run, which was set up by Malik Mega, 46-yard catch. With 5:26 left in the third quarter, Tyler Huff would then throw another interception, which would lead to a 39-yard field goal. But then Jack State would then answer with a 26-yard field goal. But at this point, field goals are not enough. They needed touchdowns, which they did not get. Coastal Carolina would score a 37-yard Jamison Tucker touchdown catch. Jack State would score a 92-yard Michael Pettaway touchdown catch. Coastal Carolina would score a 9-yard Sanika McKee touchdown catch thrown. This touchdown was thrown by Noah Kim, the former Spartan. At this time, they sat Ethan Vasco with the game well in reach. And that was set up by a 53-yard Darren Lloyd run. And then Jack State would end the game with a 38-yard Trey Stewart touchdown run, set up by a 24-yard Jerry Bowie catch. Now, some notes I had about this game. Jack State went 1 of 10 on third down, while Coastal Carolina went 5 of 12. That's not going to cut it for Jack State. Jack State had 3 turnovers compared to Coastal Carolina's 2. So you can't lose on third downs and lose the turnover battle. And Coastal Carolina had 294 rushing yards, while Jack State, normally a team really good on the ground, had 123 rushing yards. Another note I had was, where was Zion Turner? Zion Turner, the transfer from UConn, good on the ground, could throw the ball. Logan Smothers, I get it. He was the backup last year to Zion Webb. Actually, him and Webb would alternate starting and alternate possessions sometimes. If one was slacking, the other would come in. But Logan Smothers did not play well. And instead of going to Zion Turner, they went to Bryce Huff, who also did not play well. And they just alternated between them two not playing well. Why not give Zion Turner a try? I mean, from what I saw, I thought he was supposed to be the starter anyway. But he never even touched the field. And I was disappointed in that. I was really disappointed in Rich Rod this game. Why not, bro? Both your quarterbacks not playing well. Let's give the guy a chance. I mean, y'all got him over here for a reason. He was projected to be a starter for a reason. Play the man. But in the end, they lose by 28 points at home in my opinion, an embarrassing home loss to start the year. Coastal Carolina gets a really good W, and they put me and possibly everyone else on notice that even though they lost Grayson McCall, their long 10-year quarterback, and Jamie Chadwell, which he was gone last year, is not there, that they're still fine. Tim Beck and them boys are still fine. But we'll move on to one of the more exciting games of the night. North Dakota State 26 at Colorado 31. North Dakota State will start with the ball, and they will score a 36-yard field goal. They got down the field off a Texas route with the running back, but he didn't score. It looked like he got tired, got gassed, and then he got hot. But then after that field goal, Colorado will score or start with a 41-yard touchdown pass to Travis Hunter, catches a curl, stop, whatever you want to call it, made a defender miss and was gone. Nobody was catching him. North Dakota State would then score a Joe Stoffel 7-yard touchdown catch, set up by Braylon Henderson 27-yard catch. North Dakota State would then go down and score. They went right back down and answered. Jimmy Horn for Colorado would then score a 70-yard touchdown catch. I think he burnt down, if I remember correctly, he just burnt the defense, got behind the defense and scored. North Dakota State scores a Cam Miller 7-yard touchdown run set up by a 16-yard Roger Nelson catch. Now, I know Shador was balling in this game, and all props to Shador. Shador looks like the best quarterback in the draft next year. He obviously looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But Cam Miller for North Dakota State, all kudos and props goes to him as well. He made plays with his legs. He made plays with his arm. He almost won him the game late. Cam Miller was absolutely balling. I have to let that be known because I'm part of the Colorado craze as well. I want them to do well, but it seems like what he did kind of went unnoticed, and it shouldn't have. He absolutely balled. Colorado then on 4th and 1 has a turnover on downs. Dallin Hayden runs for no gain, but that will only lead to a field goal, a 36-yard field goal. And then Colorado will make a 27-yard field goal before the half, which was set up by Jimmy Horn 31-yard catch. Then Colorado will start the second half with a Shador Sanders interception, but that only leads to a 3-and-out punt, so no harm, no foul. Then Colorado will score a 13-yard Travis Hunter touchdown catch, which was set up by Jimmy Horn, 41-yard catch. Now, with that touchdown by Travis Hunter in the back of the end zone, some people say he might have pushed off. It just looked like they were both hand fighting. Travis Hunter won, and he made a great catch, great ball skills in that play. Then Colorado will score another Travis Hunter touchdown, this one from 3 yards out, and that one was a spectacular catch. Catching the ball through the defender definitely was defensive pass interference that wasn't even flagged, but he's still able to make the catch. That was set up by Dallin Hayden, 14-yard catch. And then North Dakota State will score a 20-yard Cam Miller touchdown run. The 2-point would be no good. That was set up by a 17-yard Roger Nelson catch. Now we got to talk about the end of the game. End of the game, Colorado gets a first down from a defensive pass interference. It was 3rd and long. They really couldn't establish a run. The run game was real inconsistent. I think they started off with 2 good runs, but it was really inconsistent. So to end the game, to try to kill the clock, they were basically doing extended handoffs for like screens and stuff like that. And they got the first down, right? You would think under 2 minutes, 1 timeout, game's essentially over. Run the ball 3 times. Don't matter if you get nothing. You just got to run the ball, don't fumble. You daggone it could take 3 knees for real. But run the ball. North Dakota State don't touch the football. Game's over. You would think an NFL OC, I think Pat Shurmur was even an NFL head coach, and Deion Sanders, who played in the NFL, head coach for multiple teams, high school head coach, college head coach at Jackson State. He says he don't want to coach NFL. So he's at the coaching level he wants to be, his max coaching level. You would think he would tell Pat Shurmur straight run plays, only runs. Or Pat Shurmur would know only runs, can't call no passes. Well, 1st and 10, right after the defensive pass interference, they throw the ball deep, and it's an incomplete pass, giving North Dakota State an extra timeout. Then they keep the ball on the ground. But North Dakota State now has 40 seconds, and they will have no time, but now they have time. They have new life. They get down to maybe 45 to midfield, have time for one Hail Mary. The ball was thrown to about the 8 to 10 yard line. And again, coaching moments, which I don't know if this is coaching. The first one was clearly coaching. The second one, I don't know if it was coaching or not, and I'll explain why after. The defense tries to go for the pick. The ball is tipped and it's complete at the 5 yard line to a North Dakota State player. But he gets tackled right away, and that's the end of the game. The reason why I don't know if this is coaching, because this is what I noticed after the play. I saw a Colorado player go like this, like bat the ball down. What are y'all doing? So that leads me to believe they were told to bat the ball down. Somebody just either wanted to pad their stats or just didn't care. So I don't know if I blame coaching on that, but that game almost ended in a huge blunder for Colorado, but they escaped with the W. Now, a couple of notes. Well, that was one of the notes, but I just went over it. And the second note I had was North Dakota State only scored 6 points in the second half. Colorado defense did a really good job in the second half, almost shutting them out. The 6 points came from the Cam Miller run for 20 yards, man-to-man coverage, found a lane. Nobody was within reach of him because they're in man-to-man. He got through. But really good defense to start the second half for Colorado, including especially right after the interception. But one more thing I want to talk about is the lack of a run game that Colorado has. It's still there. They still don't have a consistent run game. And I think part of it is due to the trenches. And I think a lot of it has to do with the trenches. They're just not good enough yet. Now, can that change? It's game one. Things can happen. You go back to the film. Maybe somebody missed assignments. Chemistry is not there along the line. Things like that can happen, especially week one. But it don't look good right now. Hence, emphasis on right now. But we're going to move on to the final game Thursday night, which was another good one, delayed by weather. UNC 19, Minnesota 17 in regulation. Oh, by the way, so right now I'm 1-1. I picked Jack State to beat Coastal, lost. I picked Colorado to beat North Dakota State, which they won. And I told y'all I'll take the 9.5 points, which actually went up to around 12 before kickoff. I told y'all I'll take them. That one. And I ended up 1-2 on the night, picking Minnesota to beat UNC. Now, I feel like I was on the right side of this game. Minnesota, Big Ten Kicker of the Year, missed 2 field goals, 1 from 26, and he missed the game winner late game, which caused Minnesota to lose. Hey, man, I can't predict those things. I can't. I'm sorry. I can predict a defensive game. I can predict a low-scoring game. I can't predict missed field goals. I just can't do that. So UNC escapes in Minnesota with a win. Minnesota will start with a 3-and-out punt. And then UNC will start with a turnover on downs, 4th and 3. Max Johnson passes incomplete, but that leads to a 3-and-out punt. Now, here's what I want to say. The first drive, I believe Max Johnson should have thrown a pick 6, but because the receiver slipped. The receiver slipped, but the DB dropped it, and they were able to go down the field, but they turned the ball over on downs. Like I said, leads to a 3-and-out punt. Then, after the punt, nobody does anything. Minnesota with this is the first missed field goal. He would miss the 27-yarder, not 26, excuse me. Miss a 27-yard field goal, and that would lead to a 3-yard Max Johnson touchdown run set up by an Amarion Hampton had 6 carries for 41 yards. Bad handwriting. Also, I wanted to talk about something else. Max Johnson on this play should have fumbled, but I think it was a penalty that overrode the fumble. So that didn't happen. So remember, one of my things about Max Johnson was turn the ball over. Should have thrown a pick, should have fumbled. Both those things, they were able to dodge a bullet. This one actually led to a touchdown. So then UNC's Max Johnson will finally do what he was trying to do the whole time. He throws an interception, and that would lead to a 5-yard Marcus Major touchdown run. Then Minnesota would then score a 1-yard Max Brosmer touchdown run. That was set up by a 20-yard catch by Daniel Jackson. UNC would start the second half with a 29-yard field goal. Minnesota would start the second half with a 3-and-out punt. UNC would score a 52-yard field goal. But Max Johnson, who is now out for the year, get well soon, he would get hurt on the play, breaking his leg, and that would lead to Connor Harrell stepping in, which UNC is confident in Connor Harrell anyway, played well against West Virginia in the Duke's Mayo Bowl last year. They liked the guy. It just how happened Max Johnson transferred in, but they were pretty much ready to go with Connor Harrell. So now he gets the rest of the year is up to him, barring any injuries. With 11:08 left in the game, Minnesota's Max Brosmer fumbles the ball, and that leads to UNC scoring a 42-yard field goal. Minnesota would then make a 30-yard field goal. UNC would take the lead late with a 45-yard field goal. And on the last drive, Minnesota would drive down but miss a 47-yard field goal for the game. So the final score, like I said, would be 19-17. Now, some notes I have is UNC made 4 full field goals. UNC kicker made it from 52 yards, 45 yards. Let me find the other ones. He made them from deep. He made 4 of them, and they weren't sweet. 42 yards and 29 yards. So 4-4. While the Big Ten Kick of the Year last year went 1-3, missing a 27-yard field goal. That's the difference in the game right there. And I would say Minnesota needs ball control drills because I think they lost the ball a couple times. They just didn't lose the fumble. Like, they recovered them, but they need to work on ball control because they were dropping the ball like crazy. But we move on to Friday night games. Oops, I accidentally hit the edit. Friday night games, and I don't want to do it, but I got to do it. I have to talk about the FAU Michigan State game because I previewed it. So it's only right I recap it. Michigan State escapes, and I mean escapes, with a 16-10 win against FAU at home. If y'all remember what I said, I told y'all, man, if we as good as I think we are, we take the minus 13.5, which actually dropped to minus 12.5 right before kickoff. And Michigan State we proceed to get shut out in the second half. We was up 16-0, and they went on a 10-0 run, basically. It was 16-0, I think, middle of the second quarter. We proceeded not to score for the rest of the game. Now, part of that was because of us, but part of that was because of good defense as well. But let's talk about it. MSU will start with an Aiden Childs interception, which will lead to a 3-and-out. Now, the Aiden Childs interception on the first drive, it's partly on Monterey Foster. He had the ball. The DB did make a good play, breaking it, knocking out his hands, but you got to have strong hands, catch the ball, knocked out his hands. And then the DB made an excellent play on the sideline catching the ball. Now, I think he controlled it out of bounds because the point, I just hit my funny bone on the desk. The point where they said he controlled the ball, I felt like there was still a gap between the ball and his hand. But they said he controlled it in bounds. Oh, it leads to an interception. Then MSU Aiden Childs would fumble, which would lead to a recovery by MSU, but we punted. MSU forces a safety right after the punt, and that would lead to a Monterey Foster fumble in the red zone. We ran, I think, like a screen pass that we thought was something safe. So at least, hey, we got a field goal here, but if he can break it and score, cool. Fumbled the ball, FAU recovers, but that would lead to a Cam Fancher interception. And that would lead to a 3-and-out punt. So we just didn't do anything with any of those opportunities. Then FAU, Cam Fancher throws an interception to Nick Martinez, which would lead to an 11-yard Aiden Childs touchdown run. Now, the play before that, Kyron Lynch-Adams actually breaks out and should have scored a touchdown. But they blew it dead way too fast. Didn't even give him a chance to see if his momentum would stop. But, again, Aiden Childs finishes the drive. We go up 9-0. Excuse me. Then MSU gets the ball back and scores a 63-yard Kyron Lynch-Adams touchdown run right up the gut, just breaks free. Nobody catches him, touchdown. And again, there would be no more points for MSU after that. FAU would score a 43-yard field goal before the half, and then FAU would start the second half with a 44-yard field goal miss, but that would just lead to a 3-and-out punt by MSU. MSU Aiden Childs would then throw an interception. This one is on Aiden Childs completely. I believe he's on the right hash, throwing an out route on the left side. Like, you just can't do that with a short field. DB jumps it and almost takes it to the house. Leads to a Ja'Shawn Plant touchdown, a 10-yard touchdown catch. So they scored anyway. MSU would then have a turnover on downs, 4th and 1. Kyron Lynch-Adams run for a loss of 2, which will lead to a FAU turnover on downs, 4th and 2. Cam Fancher is sacked for a loss of 4. Now, that would lead to a 3-and-out punt. Now, let's talk about that 4th and 1 for a second. That drive, Kyron Lynch-Adams was absolutely running the ball on the outside effectively, right? I believe we got to a 2nd or 3rd and 1, and I'm like, here comes the play action. Here comes the play action. No, we just run it. No, we just run it. So I'm like, 4th and 1, let's put Kyron Lynch-Adams in the game and now run the play action because he's been so effective on this drive. They know we're going to hand him the football. Play action. Make the defense collapse. Aiden Childs has legs. Boot him out. As you boot him out, you have somebody leaking the flat and somebody coming over the top. Easy first down. You just need a yard. Run the ball up the middle. Defense collapse. Stops it short. Turnover on downs. But that no harm, no foul, I guess, because it leads to a 3-and-out punt. Then FAU will have a turnover on downs on 4th and 1, and this is where things got rocky because Cam Fancher, He took off the run. I believe it's Jordan Turner goes and makes the play, or he tries to make a tackle, but then Cam Fancher, who was sliding late all game, slides late yet again. His helmet comes off because his helmet's been loose all game. I'll talk about that at the end. Slides late. It looks like a targeting call. They throw the flag. They call targeting. Then Jordan Turner takes his helmet off in frustration. They throw the flag for that. That's after the play for unsportsmanlike conduct. They then go review targeting. Targeting is not upheld. It's reversed. And since he started his slide before the first down, it stopped short. Turnover on downs. Then the 15 yards is applied after MSU gets the ball. So we dodge a bullet there. But, man, Cam Fancher was sliding late, creating penalties all game. If that one felt like if that would have went through, that would have lost us the game. But we do nothing with it. We go 3 and out and punt the ball. We don't even ice the game. And then, thank God, 4th and 13, FAU turns the ball over on downs with an incomplete pass, which we finally ice the game and run the clock out. But I'm not happy with the MSU win at all. That is not something I'm happy with. That is not something any MSU Spartan fan, player, coach at all should be happy with. You should be absolutely mad at the game that we had. Yeah, it's week 1. Yeah, mistakes are going to be fixed, but you shouldn't be happy with it. We won, yes, but just because you won don't mean you should be happy. There's wins that you're not happy with. If you're happy at every win, no matter what, that normally builds bad habits and happens. And later in the year, it comes back and bites you. Late game, late year, whenever you need it. You have to fix mistakes, even in wins, just to avoid things like that coming up in the future. Again, we got shut out in the second half. Aiden Childs had 2 interceptions. You can say one is his fault, one is not. The point of the matter is 2 picks in the stat sheet, which you have to fix. It's not like he had any passing touchdowns to offset that. He had 1 rushing touchdown, but that wasn't even set up by him. And then Montori Foster had 2 drops and a fumble. I was done with him in the first half. I'm not even going to lie. I was done with him for that game in the first half. I'm like, bro, this is not his game. Get him out. We try again next week. But, yeah, very, very mad at that win. Getting these comments, and then we'll go to the next game. Shout out, hey. Hold on. My bad. One comment before you. He said, we are, though. Joe, I don't know what that's in response to. And shout out David Burns watching from Cedar Hill, Texas. He was actually active during that Ravens panel that we was a part of. So shout out to you. I think he's a Ravens fan as well. So Flock Nation, what's up? But let's get into this TCU Stanford game, which actually was a really good game. TCU Stanford ended up being a real good game. I actually stayed up to watch till Stanford kicked the field goal and TCU recovered the extra point. The onside kick. I had to go to work the next day. So I woke up, did the preview for Saturday, went to work, tired as a mug, but I got through it. Hold on, one more comment. My bad. Yes, sir. See, shout out Ravens fan. Shout out my boy. But yeah, TCU ends up winning 34-27. I picked TCU to win. No secret, I picked MSU to win, so I went 2-0 Friday night. I was scared with the TCU and the MSU game. Both of those looked like they could be losses, but they ended up winning. Let's talk about what happened in the game. And then I'll bring up my guest, and we'll go over Saturday and Sunday. But Stanford will start off with a 3-yard Jackson Harris touchdown catch. I know I put that was set up by Ashton Daniels' 31-yard run, and it was. But it was also set up by a very, very, very stupid pass interference, third down. Ball was not going to be caught. Defender just no reason. I don't even think it was a pass interference. I think it was unnecessary roughness, not unnecessary roughness, unsportsmanlike conduct. I think it was like hit on a defenseless receiver or something like that. Ball not going to be caught. Just run out of bounds or run away from the guy, or whatever you got to do. Hit him. No need to hit him. Automatic first down. Stanford goes down to score after that. It should have been a 3-and-out point, led to a touchdown. But then TCU would start with a 5-yard Savion Williams touchdown catch. Jack Beck set that up with an 18-yard catch. Then TCU's J.P. Richardson would fumble in open space. And if you remember, I talked about him in open space, I like him in open space, but he fumbled. Definitely fumbled. And that would lead to a 2-yard Ismail Cisse touchdown catch. Then on 4th and 4, TCU would turn the ball over on downs. Cam Cook only got 3 yards on the catch. That would lead to an Ashton Daniels interception. And I wrote in parentheses, big boy pick, because I got excited. I love when big boys get picks. Got a big boy pick on that play. And then that would lead to a 21-yard field goal. And then Stanford would then score a 35-yard field goal. Then TCU's Josh Hoover would fumble, but that would just lead to the end of the half. Let's see. My dad just texted me something that threw me off. All right, TCU would start the second half with a 42-yard field goal. Then Stanford would start the second half with a God, I have bad handwriting. 4th and 4, turnover on downs. Ashton Daniels passes incomplete, and that would lead to a 3-and-out punt. TCU scores a 1-yard Josh Hoover touchdown run, set up by a 43-yard Jack Beck catch. And then with 13:38 left in the fourth quarter on 4th and 5, they would turn the ball over on downs. Ashton Daniels runs for a loss of 1, and that would lead to a 39-yard field goal miss by TCU. And that would lead to a Stanford Justin Lamson 1-yard touchdown run, set up by Alec Ailminer 29-yard catch. Now, Alec Ailminer, they got a ball in his hands a decent amount in that game. He showed up for show. But it surprised me how many people that Stanford was able to utilize and stuff like that. They did play really well. TCU would score a 4-yard Jack Beck touchdown catch, set up by JP Richardson 34-yard catch. And then Stanford on 4th and 16, turnover on downs, passes incomplete. They had to go for it. Leads to a 7-yard Cam Cook touchdown run. No, wait, I don't even think they had to go for it now I think about it. I can't remember, but now I think about it, I think I was confused on why they went for it. Stanford scores a 45-yard field goal. TCU would recover the onside kick, and that would lead to the end of the game. Again, very shocked on how well Stanford played. They were actually able to move the ball up and down the field on offense. Played pretty decent defense. They did a pretty good job on Savion Williams in the second half for sure. But guys like Jack Beck stepped up. JP Richardson did his thing. Cam Cook looked really good at running back. Now, what I was disappointed in is Trey Sanders. Trey Sanders, very disappointed. He actually he broke a nice little run, but fumbled right after it. TCU recovered, and they took him right back out. Looks like Trey Sanders might be in a doghouse at TCU. It's unfortunate because I really wanted him to have a good year with TCU, but it looks like his college career is going to come to an end. It's going to be a bad year, unfortunate for Trey. On the Stanford side of the ball, Alec Ailminer, he really did do his thing. I noticed him make a couple plays. His first catch was like later in the second quarter, but he was able to get going. Stanford offense actually had some legs. It looked pretty decent. It looked pretty good. Ashton Daniels did well. Here's one thing kind of threw me for a loop. I think the first touchdown pass, I believe they took Ashton Daniels out and put in a backup. And I was like, why would you do that if you just want to throw the ball? Because it's not like Ashton Daniels isn't a run threat. He ran for 31 yards. He's definitely a run threat, but it worked out, so it didn't matter. But great game nonetheless. Now I'm going to bring up my boy Dave from Dave's Doghouse. But before I do that, I do got one more comment I got to read. David Burns, he said he saw that play too, the dumb play on third down, which was unnecessary, which led to Stanford's first touchdown. Yeah, it was just stupid. But yeah, we're gonna bring up my boy Dave. We're gonna talk about the Saturday and one Sunday game. I might ask him who wins Monday game. Just give him real brief who wins and why, because we got one game tonight. But hold on, I'm trying to get the sound effect going. No, I'm tripping. I'm on a whole wrong. See, I be tripping, bro. I'm telling you, I be tripping sometimes. But here go my boy Dave right here. Yeah, say what up to the people, Dave. I'm still looking for it.
What's up? What's going on, people?
Dave.
As you said, just finished doing 9 teams on the regular show, so here to do some more on CTC. I'm ready.
Hey, man, you got a taste of what that was like on CTC with the ACC.
Hey,
did 17. We did 17 that night.
That was a lot, but we got through it.
All right. So as y'all know, if you've seen the ACC preview, Miami Hurricanes fan who got a huge W Saturday. Wasn't just a win, was a spanking. Miami players was doing that a lot all Saturday. Cam Ward looked great, but we're going to talk about them in a second. First game I got on the agenda is Clemson versus Georgia, which if you call that a game, it was a game in the first half. It was a game in the first half. Second half, it was just a spanking. I'm gonna read off what happened, and then I'll talk about it a little bit, let you talk about it too. So again, final score was Clemson 3, Georgia 34 in Atlanta, neutral site. Clemson starts with a 3-and-out punt. Georgia would start with a punt, and then nothing would be done in the first quarter. And the second quarter, with 8:29 left in the second quarter, Georgia would score a 30-yard field goal. Then again, they would score a 55-yard field goal, and that's it. That's all that happened in the first half. Clemson didn't really do much. Georgia only kicked 2 field goals. Second half, Georgia will score a 7-yard. This might hurt you a little bit. Kobe Young touchdown catch, set up by a 32-yard Arian Smith catch. Clemson will start the second half with a 26-yard field goal. Then Georgia scores a 1-yard Nate Frazier touchdown run, set up by Nate Frazier himself with a 24-yard catch, which he balled. Going back and rewatching the game, he for sure balled. And him and Trevor Etienne with even Cash Jones might be nasty. That's gonna be tough to stop. With 9:57 left in the fourth quarter, Georgia scores a 40-yard London Humphreys low-key transfer pickup. I talked about that from Vanderbilt. Touchdown catch. Then Cade Klubnik would throw an interception. Then Malachi Starks, one of the best defensive backs in the country, leads to a 15-yard Cash Jones touchdown run. And then Clemson will have a turnover downs on 4th and 6. Cade Klubnik passes incomplete, which will lead to the end of the game. Both defense played well in the first half, but it just looked like Georgia figured them out in the second half, only having one drive that didn't lead to a touchdown, which was a punt. I'm not counting the other one at the end of the game because they just sorting the game away. Scored 4 touchdowns in the second half, just looked unstoppable. Was just getting guys open space, guys like Dylan Bell, London Humphreys, Dominic Lovett. Not blanking on the name. I think even Oscar Delp got a ball in open space and was running. So guys was just running open all over. And Georgia defense was just too much for Clemson. I still like on the defensive end for Clemson, I still like AJ Terrell's brother, Avion Terrell. I think he actually had a pretty good game, but he can't cover everybody. So Georgia was just able to run open. Dave, you can talk about the game a little bit.
Yeah, we agree that first half was a very hard-fought defensive game in the first half. Clemson and Georgia was pretty much going at it defensively. Neither one of the teams were good on third down. Both Clemson was 4 of 13 on third down. Georgia was 4 of 11 on third down. They had this. I mean, Georgia only had 6 more first downs than they did. It was only one turnover the whole game. That was the interception that Clay Covenant threw. It was a great defensive battle in the first half, but then the second half came and Georgia just started clicking. They just went on a high streak. Carson Beck ended with 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. Nate Frazier, like as you said, he got a touchdown in that game. Humphrey had 2 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown. That was a really good game, man. By Georgia in the second half. It was more competitive in the first half, and then Georgia just showed who was the better team in the second half.
Yeah.
And then Clemson just couldn't run the ball at all. They only had 46 total rushing yards as a team. Georgia defense was just too nasty in that game.
Yeah, I felt like they were stopping the run, but obviously late game they had to abandon it because they got down a bunch and they had to throw their way back in, which Clemson's not going to want to do that. They don't want to lean too much on the pass with Cade Klubnik at quarterback, which, by the way, I'm starting to be out on Cade Klubnik. I mean, I was already out on him, but it's just like more and more. I see why him and DJ Uiagalelei had a quarterback competition, which in itself is already bad, but I'm becoming out on Cade Klubnik. I don't know if it's because of Clemson's offensive coordinator. I don't know which I think they got somebody new at offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
by the way, because they got the coordinator from TCU, and I was trying to tell Trent, I don't put none of that praise on that OC because they started Chandler Morris over Max Duggan, which I knew was incorrect from the jump. So I thought they should have started Max Duggan from the jump, and I gave all the credit for that TCU year to Max Duggan and those guys, and not that OC. And it looks more and more like I'm aimed to be right on that.
Yeah, Max Duggan was balling with TCU, and that had nothing to do with the OC. He was just doing what he knew what to do. He was just balling.
Yeah, I
get Clemson. I don't know, and I guess that's the biggest reason for me why I'm not high on Clemson is because of Cade Klubnik. I know this offense can be good, this defense is really good, but the quarterback situation is just I don't think he's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried to give Cade Klubnik the benefit of the doubt, but I do think Clemson can mask it by playing good defense, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball more effectively against other teams. It's just Georgia. It's very, I won't say very rare, but it's going to, with the schedule they have, it's going to be very rare they match up with a Georgia type defense. So I think this game is going to be an outlier compared to what they play in the ACC and stuff like that. But I think this game for sure shows that Dabo Swinney and Clemson needs to use the transfer portal. They have to.
Dabo tried to. I heard one of his interviews where he tried to say that they use the transfer portal. He said, 2 of the last 3 years we used transfer. I said, yeah, but you didn't use it to get star players. You used it, but you didn't really grab nobody. That
you didn't use it at all. You didn't use it at all last year.
Well, last year he said 2. He said the 2 of the last 3 years he did. So he's saying the last 2 years before this one he did, but last year you didn't use it at all, and and it looks like it. It looks
He just
like
complains about it. He just complains about it. He complains about NIL. He complains about everything, but he doesn't adapt. If you want to complain so much, just retire.
Exactly. Do what Nick Saban did.
Yeah, well, at least Nick Saban adapt though. He used it. He complained, but he adapted. He still had the number 2 recruiting class. He still would go and get transfers. He got Jamison Williams. He would go get guys. He just complained while adapting. Dabo is complaining and not adapting. That's like a bad combo.
Mm-hmm. It's like pick a struggle.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on to West Virginia and Penn State. Penn State won. By the way, I did pick Georgia to win. I picked Penn State to win this one. So looking good so far. Penn State won 34-12 in dominant fashion. I told Ty, like he said, all our hard games gonna come in late in the year. I'm like, bro, this was supposed to be a hard game. Y'all just made it look easy. Like West Virginia is no slouch. They definitely have a really good front seven. They definitely started off really well. Now, part of that was due to the fortunates of a bad snap fumble. Drew Allard wasn't ready for it. But I'll get into it and then we'll talk about it. That West Virginia would start with a punt. Penn State would start with a fumble, like I was just talking about. Snap was too early, but Penn State would get lucky. Bad snap by the center on West Virginia's end. So the very next play, West Virginia would lose the fumble, but that would lead to a 3-and-out punt. Then West Virginia on 4th and 1, Garrett Green would run for no gain, and that would lead to a turnover on downs. Then Trey Wallace, who had a really good game, would score a 50-yard touchdown catch. Then Penn State again would score a 20-yard Katron Allen touchdown catch set up by a Trey Wallace 17-yard catch. Then West Virginia would score a 38-yard field goal, then a 39-yard field goal, and then Penn State right before the half would score an 18-yard Trey Wallace touchdown catch set up by an Amari Evans 55-yard catch, which I put possible offensive pass interference in my notes. That was clearly offensive pass interference. He clearly pushed him.
Yeah, it wasn't no possible. When I rewatched the game and saw the highlights, I said, man, he pushed off like crazy.
Yeah, that was clearly offensive pass interference. Don't know. The ref was right there. I don't know how he ain't see it and call it, but Penn State got away with an offensive pass interference, which led to a touchdown.
Man, it was Ray Charles out there. He was like, I don't see nothing.
Yeah. To start the second half, Nick Singleton would score a 40-yard touchdown run, which was a key block on that with the tight end, Tyler Warren. He set a key block on that for Nick Singleton to break free. And then West Virginia would start the second half with a punt. And then with 12:49 left in the fourth quarter, West Virginia would score a 1-yard C.J. Donaldson touchdown run, set up by a 25-yard Preston Fox catch, but the 2-point would be no good. Penn State would then score a 19-yard Tyler Warren touchdown catch, felt like he deserved it, set up by a 40-yard Nick Singleton run. And then West Virginia's Garrett Green would fumble, which would lead to a missed 47-yard field goal, which would lead to a Nico Marichal interception, which would lead to the end of the game. Now, some notes I have for this one is Penn State passing game definitely looks improved. I thought the route combos looked better. I think Drew Allard looked improved as a passer. The ball just looked prettier coming out of his hands. It looked pretty going deep, too. I thought Penn State defense was dominant. It was dominant from the jump. And I think the fumble after the first fumble by Penn State snatched away momentum that West Virginia definitely had. And the fact that they scored first snatched away all the momentum in Morgantown. And that led to a huge dub for Penn State.
This is what I expected from Penn State, honestly. I thought this game wouldn't be close. So maybe I'm just like Ty. As far as this game, I didn't think West Virginia had a chance against Penn State. It was pretty even, kind of sort of when it comes to like the efficiency as far as everything. Third down was pretty much the same. Time of possession wasn't really nothing. This is West Virginia couldn't really run the ball. They had 85 total rushing yards. But C.J. Donaldson did get a touchdown for West Virginia. But like you said, Trey Wallace, it was nothing that West Virginia could do against Trey Wallace. He was just doing whatever he wanted to do in that game. Drew Allard had one of his best games I've seen him play. I definitely think that this makes Penn State dangerous and a team that could definitely make the playoffs this year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens the rest of this way. Nick Singleton had 114 yards rushing in this game and a touchdown. So this was a really good game for Penn State and a good way to start for them.
Yeah, I definitely thought this game would be a little harder for Penn State. I didn't think Penn State passing game would improve so much. They really didn't do much with names, I would say, to replace receiver talent. I thought the receiver talent was kind of about the same as it was last year, and it could be very much the same. They did get a new offensive coordinator. That could be the change in that, and then that's why it could have looked different. But the thing that surprised me, unless he's hurt, no Julian Fleming. That was kind of surprising, the transfer from Ohio State. But yeah, really good win for Penn State. Really interested to see if this is just a fluke or if the passing game is really improved. But I like the air on the side that is definitely improved. Let's get into the comments and we'll move on to the next game where I didn't look so hot in. Joe says, did y'all do Arizona State or the Miami game? We have not touched the Miami game. We'll not touch a game. I think Arizona State won 48-0 against Wyoming. So
yeah, we're not talking about that.
Not talking about that game. And if you talk about the Arizona game against New Mexico, I didn't plan on talking about it, but I did plan on shouting out to Toya McMillan because he's the dog. But I'm going to mainly shout him out in major performances after the Boston College Florida State game. But I mean, I could just say, because I did watch some of it, and I could just say Arizona looked exactly like I thought they would look. They did, however, did not look as good as defense. Letting New Mexico kind of keep up with them on the defensive end. That was pretty concerning. I felt like they should have stifled New Mexico, especially being at home. But yeah, that was kind of concerning. But the offense was great. But that's what you expect from the duo of Noah Fafita and Toya McMillan. Just you expect fireworks. I didn't expect 10 catches for 300 yards, but you expect fireworks nonetheless. Then Joe says Penn State pass game improved, but it's still not that good to me. I think that's still yet to be proven, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, it's just the first game. I think when you got to see it at least a couple more games before we say it's good or not.
Yeah, and then he say at least got to talk about T-Mac, which is Toya McMillan. Come on, Joe. You know I do major performances at the end of every week, Joe. Come on now. You know there ain't nothing new over here.
He interested to hear about T-Mac.
Then it says, all right, cool. And then David Burns, shout out him. He said, really surprised how many people picked West Virginia in this game. I was actually surprised about that too as well. Saban did, Urban did. I don't know if I'm listening to Urban Meyer. No funny. Penn State with West Virginia last year, and Penn State is clearly better this year than last. I do agree somewhat with that sentiment. I will say West Virginia kind of caught on late about how good they were. West Virginia is definitely better than what they were to start the year last year. So I somewhat agree with that sentiment. But overall, I had Penn State winning too. I just thought that the front seven might cause them some problems, but Nick Singleton didn't cause him no problems at all. Joe says the game was closer than what people think. Exactly. I agree with that sentiment. And he said that defense is something to be worried about. Yeah. The Arizona defense definitely kind of scared me. But let's get into an upset. Now, there was no numbers beside any one of these teams, but this is still an upset nonetheless. Vanderbilt beats Virginia Tech at home 27-34 in overtime. And if you're in the chats, you know I had to apologize to my guy Diego Pavia or Pavia. I think it's Pavia. They were calling him Pavia all game. I watched you take New Mexico State to the Conference USA Championship. I watched you beat Auburn in Auburn. You him, bro. You him. I'm sorry I doubted you.
I was shocked that you picked Vandy to not upset Virginia Tech in this game. That's why
I'm sorry I doubted you, bro. I didn't think that you can elevate this Vanderbilt team the way that you did Saturday, but you proved me wrong. You had a phenomenal game. Vanderbilt actually kind of looks a little changed now. I don't know if that's due to Pavia and him making players look better with his legs, but man, that defense was balling. Yeah, I think part of that was – I'll talk about it at the end. Save it for the end. But we got to talk about what happened. So Vanderbilt will start with a 43-yard field goal. Virginia Tech will start with a Kyron Jones big boy pick, interception, trying to throw a middle screen. Ball gets tipped. Big boy catches the ball and rumbles for about 10 yards. That would lead to a 14-yard Quincy Skinner touchdown catch. Then Vandy would score again with a 7-yard Cedric Alexander touchdown run going up 17-0. Set up by a 23-yard Quincy Skinner catch. VTech will score a 40-yard field goal. Then VTech starts the second half with a Baishu Tootin 24-yard touchdown run. I felt like they should have definitely featured Baishaw more in the first half. Didn't really do so, and it killed them. Ali Jennings set that up with a 29-yard catch. Then Vandy will start the second half with a 53-yard field goal. Now, this was set up because I don't know how this happened, but Virginia Tech had two players on the field with the same number on a punt, gave them 5 yards, moved it up to where they felt comfortable kicking their field goal for 53 yards, and the field goal kicked and nailed it. 3 points that should not have been on the board because of a stupid mistake. They go up 20-10. With 34 seconds left in the third quarter, VTech scores a 38-yard field goal. Then VTech will score an 11-yard Bashul 2 and touchdown run set up by Stephen Gosnell, 44-yard catch. VTech would then score a 62 Ali Jennings touchdown catch on a busted coverage, just ran right down the field, wide open, nobody in sight. But Vandy would match it with an 8-yard Cedric Alexander touchdown catch set up by Lukic Funangi, 19-yard catch. And then Vandy misses a 43-yard field goal at the end to force overtime. Thought Vandy was going to win it. They should have won it, but don't matter. Diego Pavea says, I got you. 4-yard touchdown run at OT. And Colin Shalee on 4th and 11 turns the ball over on downs. Passes incomplete. Kyron Jones got hurt on 2nd down and did not come back in the game. Now, some notes about this game. I already said one. Bishal Tootin should have definitely been featured more in the first half. He was not. I felt like they was trying to show that Kyron Jones is an improved passer, which maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Didn't really look like it much to me. And it burnt him. It definitely burnt him. Pavea, like I said, man, he's just him, just making plays with his legs, with his arms. Just had a phenomenal game for the Vanderbilt Commodores. They looked more improved. Defense looks fast. Offense looks fast. It just looks like kind of what an SEC football team should look like. V-Tech late game could not get a stop, could not contain the quarterback at all. It's really. Oh, and one more thing on that 4th down that Colin Shalee threw an incomplete pass. It was man-to-man coverage. He broke the pocket. He had a chance to lead his guys right because he was rolling left. If he'd have let him right a little bit more, he could have took off left and possibly scored, but he decided to throw in the back of the end zone. Didn't even give his receiver really a chance. Too high of a ball, and that's the ball game. Talk about it for me, Dave.
Yeah, Pavia, that boy had 200, almost 300 yards by himself in that game, passing and running. He balled out. 3 touchdowns by himself, 26 carries, 104 yards in the touchdown, 190 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. That boy balled out. And yeah, I agree. They only gave 9 carries the entire game. Like, that's it. You got to have a balanced offense. By the way, your offense is not going to be balanced when you got your quarterback dropping back 33 times to throw the ball, and you only give your running back 9 carries throughout the game. And you see that when he's running the ball, he's effective. You should have been using him in the first half. This is. I don't know. I don't know what that was. I don't understand VTech. I'm cool with VTech losing because they're in the ACC, but I just didn't understand the coaching decision when it comes to that. And that was a idiotic decision to have 2 players with the same number on the field at the same time. Like that's a flag automatically. Like, come on now.
Yeah, part of that's on the coach, and part of that is on the return man. The return man got to count the guys and make sure everything's straight. You had to notice that coaches. That I put it mainly more so on the coaching because the coaching has to. So I don't know if you were paying attention, but the USC game they wouldn't announce like number 10 is now number 96, possibly because they had another number 10 coming in the game, so they had to change the jersey so they won't have 2 number 10s on the field. Mm-hmm. Probably the same thing they had to do there, just didn't get it done, and it led to 3 points, and that was a huge difference in the ball game. Yeah, man, I'm just as confused as you why Bishal Tootin was not featured as much. Really didn't get that at all. And it to me, it cost him the game. It cost him the game. You dug yourself a 17-point hole. You was able to get yourself out of it, but defense wore down, and Vanderbilt was just able to sustain. They fought back in late, and they won the game. So,
yeah, I want to give a little shout out to Quincy Skinner too. Quincy Skinner Jr. He had 4 catches, 72 yards in the touchdown. He definitely stepped up for Vandy in that game.
Yeah, he stepped up too because that was one of my questions in my preview. Who's going to step up with the loss of Will Shepard, London Humphreys, and Jaden McGowan? And Quincy Skinner, he was definitely the one to step up.
Yeah, he answered your call.
Yep. So shout out to him. Let's get into these comments real quick. He said that was a great game. Yeah, it was a great game. Cost me $40, but it was a great game. He said both New Mexico and New Mexico State won, but New Mexico State got this. This was Jay Sanchez's first year as a coach, and it was only the beginning for both teams. New Mexico lost. New Mexico is 0-2. They lost to Montana State week 0.
I think he came back and won. I think he was talking about Pavia. I think that comment was about.
But Pavia didn't play in New Mexico. He played in New Mexico State.
Oh.
Pavia, yeah, he played in New Mexico State, but New Mexico's 0-2. They should have won week 0. Bronco Mendenhall ever should have started with a win week 0. But they blew the game late, and then Arizona just was Arizona and won the game. New Mexico State, I actually don't remember if they won or not, But shout out them. Jerry Kill's now gone. I think funny enough, Jerry Kill like stepped down as head coach and now is like an advisor for Vanderbilt or something like that. So I know they got New Mexico State's offensive coordinator, and that's why Pavia looked so comfortable in the offense they were in. But shout out them programs. Joe said he said he called out, but I know what he meant. He balled out.
Mm-hmm.
Then he decided to make me angry. Pavia was looking like Josh Allen. Relax. I don't think Pavia threw a pick, bro.
Sure didn't.
Amazing game and win for the Commodores. Exactly. Again, lost me my money, but great game for them.
Shout out to Skip Bayless.
No, absolutely not. And Vanderbilt backup made a bad throw, but overall they did great. And then Joe says Skinner caught that touchdown and one-on-one coverage. Yep, on the offense's right side by the pylon, by the sideline. Sure did. That was the first one. We're gonna move on to South Dakota State at Oklahoma State. I know, Dave, you waiting to talk about your game. I did them in order by the kickoff starts. So
all good. I ain't tripping. I got my notes for each game. I ain't worried about it.
Yes, sir. So South Dakota State. Now, this was the bad gambling advice I gave y'all. I said Oklahoma State would win, but I said 9.5 points was too much for the reigning two-time FCS champions. Take the points. That actually killed one of my parlays. I got 3 of them right, including betting on Nevada, which I am a Nevada Wolfpack guy this year. Just like Jack State last year, I'm Nevada Wolfpack now. Coach Jeff Choate got me. He got me, man. He really do. So I'm not a Nevada fan, but I'm like supporting them this year. Like I'm going to talk about them on CTC like I did Jack State. I'm still Jack State though, because I mess with Rich Rod and them, but Nevada got a little special place in my heart now. I love an underdog. I'm sorry. Kill me. I love an underdog.
I did too. I felt like that was Hawaii when they had
Cole Brennan and Timmy Chang.
Mm-hmm.
Timmy Chang, yeah. Everybody was on the Hawaii wave back then, though. I was definitely on that too.
Facts.
But South Dakota State lost 20-44. Now I ain't gonna lie, it kind of really wasn't because of Ollie Gordon. It was kind of because of Allen Bowman and the receivers. Ollie Gordon did his thing. Don't get me wrong, but Allen Bowman made some throws, and he was able to beat him. But let's get into it. South Dakota State starts with a turnover on downs, 4 for 2. Mark Gronowski passes incomplete, which leads to a 42-yard field goal. South Dakota State, Mark Gronowski would then throw an interception, which will lead to a 6-yard Brendan Presley touchdown catch. Then South Dakota State, will finally score a 31-yard field goal. Oklahoma State will score a 12-yard Ollie Gordon touchdown run, set up by a 16-yard Dazon dribbling catch. South Dakota State would then score a 48-yard field goal. Oklahoma State would start the second half with a 22-yard Ollie Gordon touchdown catch. South Dakota State would start the second half with a 21-yard Graham Goring touchdown catch, set up by a 33-yard Griffin Wild catch. Oklahoma State's Rashad Owens would get behind the defense for a 58-yard touchdown catch, just burnt the defender. And that throw was beautiful as well. The receiver didn't even break stride. Oklahoma State would then score a 1-yard Ollie Gordon touchdown run, which he deserved it. I think he scored like a 20-something or 11-yard catch right before that. Set up by a 27-yard Dazon dribbling catch. The South Dakota State turnover on downs, 4 for 6. Mark Gronowski passes incomplete, would lead to a 52-yard field goal. South Dakota State would then score a 60-yard Griffin Wild touchdown catch. And then with 4:50 left in the fourth quarter, South Dakota State turnover on downs, 4 for 7. Mark Gronowski passes incomplete, which would lead to a 3-and-out punt. But then South Dakota State would then turn the ball over on downs, 4 for 6. Mark Gronowski is sacked, and that would lead to a 25-yard field goal and the end of the game. Oklahoma State just dominated this game. Shout out my boy Cam Epps. He did have a defensive blunder, but he made up for it too. Corey Black had a pick on the sideline that was nasty. I think that was the second drive. Brandon Presley and Rashad Owens had a really good game, but obviously Ollie Gordon is going to do him. He's going to have over 100 yards. He's going to score touchdowns. That's what he does. He was second in college football in the country and rushing touchdowns behind Blake Corum. So that's just what he's going to do. Allen Bowman, like I said, he made plays with his arm. I think he actually played well against South Dakota State. He answered my call in the pregame, so shout out to him. It looked like, honestly, it was nothing really South Dakota State can do. What killed South Dakota State, though, settling for field goals. In my preview, I said you can't settle for field goals. Got to score touchdowns, and that killed them. Off the rip, settled for 2 field goals.
Absolutely killed them, because this was an offensive – This had the potential to be an offensive game for both sides. It had this could have been a shootout, honestly. The way that they both were moving the ball in this game, this could have been a shootout, because they both almost had 400 total yards of offense, and the time of possession was that close. it was literally off by like a minute. They were both offenses were on the field for a very long time. It's basically like 30 minutes for you, 30 minutes for you. That's pretty much what it was the entire game. But Alan Bowman had a good game. I mean, Mark Gronowski had a good game too, but he threw a pick. And other than that interception, they didn't really run the ball that much outside of Johnson. Johnson only had 9 carries for 73 yards. But that's nothing to slouch at. But yeah, man. I mean, settling for field goals against Oklahoma State will cost you because Bowman threw for almost 300 yards. He threw for 3 touchdowns. Gordon had 2 touchdowns on the ground.
1 in the air, I believe.
So that's 6 touchdowns right there just between those 2 players. So I mean, it's nothing else you could have really done if you're not scoring touchdowns going against them. You got to fight battle for battle, and you can't win a game when they're scoring touchdowns and you're scoring field goals. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's hard to outgun Oklahoma State as an FCS school. You got to stop the run, especially with an FCS school like Oklahoma State, who's known to be a run-heavy team. Now, again, Alan Bowman did his thing. He balled at quarterback, found guys. Guys didn't really break stride with his passes. So on days like that, you just gotta hold your head up, salute the opposition, and you move on. There's nothing to hang your head about, though. You got paid to play this game. You're an FCS school, so it was nothing to lose. They balled. They did their thing. Just Oklahoma State was just too much, plain and simple.
Absolutely.
Get into the comment, and then we're right where you want to be. South Dakota State is by far the best FCS school, but only as good as a Purdue or Vanderbilt. How do I feel about that? I feel like they can compete with the Wisconsin. I feel like they can compete with the Minnesota. I see what you're saying, but it's you kind of like using like the best 2 conferences and like using the lower version of the best 2 conferences. But I can see what you're saying. But I low key would take South Dakota State to beat Purdue. Now Vanderbilt, if they continue to play like they did against Virginia Tech, I don't know about that one. But Purdue, I think I'll take them to beat Purdue.
I was about to say, I don't know if I'm picking Sandy. I don't know about picking South Dakota State to beat Vanderbilt. Purdue.
I get what you're saying, though. I do. But it's some other teams that's a little better than Purdue and Vanderbilt they could compete with. But I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to Miami at Florida. Again, a stomping. Miami wins the game 41-17 on the road in the swamp. I picked Miami to win this game. I thought this game might be close only because it was in the swamp. That was the literal only reason why I thought it'd be close. If Miami was playing at home, I didn't think this game would be close. But the swamp is just different. It's different for guys. I don't even remember the last time y'all played in the swamp. Last time y'all played in the swamp was what? Maybe 2 years ago?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time y'all played in the swamp. And then I got a team full of new players, so like it's a little different. But that could also work to y'all favor what you did. Like they ain't playing this environment they ain't scared of this environment for what? Like it's our first time here, and I think it was the latter because they absolutely balled out. Let's talk about the game. Florida would start with a punt, but Miami would go down to score a 9-yard Cam McCord. It's funny because the 9 yards equal to 9 years of school he's been in, with a 9-yard touchdown catch by Cam McCormick, set up by a 24-yard Cam Ward run.
Oldest tight end in college football.
But it's like, to be honest, I know people joke about the 9 years, but like if you really know the story, it's kind of like a good thing.
It's a great story, man.
It's like a good thing he's able to play.
That's why I'm glad he got the first touchdown.
Yeah. Like I know I made my joke too, but in all honesty, like the fact that they gave him that many waivers and things with all the BS he's been through, I'm just happy he get to play football again. Cam Ward would then throw a pick his next drive, which would lead to a 41-yard field goal. I just felt like he was trying to do a little too much, throwing across his body, just off target. But it was just one of those rare things. Miami would then score a 23-yard field goal. Florida would then have a turnover on downs, 4th and 5. Graham Mertz pass is incomplete, which would lead to a 10-yard Mark Fletcher touchdown run. Then with 3:21 left in the second quarter, Montrell Johnson scores a 71-yard touchdown run. Nobody even touched him for real. He was just off to the races. Miami would score a 24-yard Xavier Restrepo touchdown catch set up by an Elijah Arroyo 28-yard catch. Xavier Restrepo had a game. Oh my God. We'll talk about that. Him and Elijah Arroyo had a game. Miami, the start of the second half, would start with a 1-yard touchdown by Mark Fletcher on the ground, set up by a 40-yard Xavier Restrepo catch. Florida would start the second half with a punt. Then Miami would score 23, Jacoby George, touchdown catch, set up by an Isaiah Horton, 27-yard catch. Graham Mertz would then throw an interception, and he would be hurt on the play and wouldn't return, which would lead to a 45-yard field goal miss, which would then lead to a 3-and-out punt, which would lead to a 1-yard Travion Webb touchdown run, set up by DJ Lagway, 16-yard run. Miami would score a 26-yard field goal, and then DJ Lagway would throw a pick, which that pick was like divine intervention, which would lead to the end of the game. But on that pick, the ball got tipped, and the defender tried to stop to catch the ball, and he fell down, and the ball just landed in his chest, on the ground.
It was just boom.
Thank you. But man, nothing but great things to say about Miami. Cam Ward looked phenomenal. He was making all platform throws. He was making throws on the run. That Jacoby George touchdown to the back of the end zone, that was nasty. God. He rolled left, Jacoby George back in the end zone. That was nasty. Xavier Restrepo just looked crazy in open field. Like I said, man, you want to get him the ball in open field and let him make plays. I think on that 40-yard catch, he made like 3 people miss. Xavier Restrepo is just really good in open field, really good return man, really good in the screen game, really good receiver in general, but especially in open space. Elijah Arroyo was the name constantly heard. He was constantly getting open. And Damian Martinez, he really had a good game too. Pass protection, I watched. He did a really good job. He's a really solid back. But this just looked like a Cam Ward game. On the other end of the other side of the football with Florida, they just look like they went against a better team. Just got dominated. Graham Mertz didn't look well, but I mean, he also didn't really have protection. Trey Wilson had a really solid game. I think DJ Lagway did pretty good for being thrusted in the game late, and this is his first ever game at the collegiate level. He started off shaky, but that could be nerves. Then he led his team down for a touchdown, and then again on that pick, pressure up the middle, ball got tipped, and it just landed in the guy's chest. So, Dave, I know you want to talk about this game. I'm gonna let the floor is yours.
Man, this was the game that I was looking forward to all season going into, because I wanted to see what our new offense is going to look like. Having a quarterback there that is actually pretty good, and this is I guess you can. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care. I'm glad that we have Cam Ward. Cam Ward was supposed to be in the NFL. Then Mario Cristobal continued to pursue him, even though he declared for the NFL. He ended up getting him to transfer to the University of Miami, and this is what I was excited about. I wanted to see what he was going to be able to do in this offense with Jacoby George, with Xavier Restrepo, with Mark Fletcher, and with Damian Martinez coming to this team as well.
That was late too. That was such a late game.
Exactly. And having Xavier Restrepo come now have a quarterback that can feed him the ball and feed it to him accurately, man. I just feel like this is the start of what could be a really good year for us. It's just one game, but it's a game against a team that we haven't beaten in a while. This is the first time we've beaten them since I can't even remember. And the last time we played them in the Swamp was 2008.
Yeah,
so that was a long time ago. And I mean, we just took over the Swamp, man. The energy was great. The defense came out there and played well. Ruben Bain, who was the ACC Freshman of the Year last year. This defense, I really like the way the defense looks. I still think we need to kind of sort of help out with the run, because Montrell Johnson had 100 yards on us on 11 carries and a touchdown.
That was a 71-yard breakout. Like, that's an outlier.
I know, but it's just I still kind of want us to do a little bit better on the run defense, even though we was pretty good overall. I just wanted to tighten it up a little bit more. But other than that, man, I feel like we're really good, man. I really like this game. I was looking forward to this dub, and we forced them to have long third downs. They was 1-9 on third down on that game, and my boy Xavier Restrepo. I think that he's gonna be really good for us this year. I mean, he always has been, and I just think this year is gonna be even better. And that spin on that catch, oh my gosh,
open space, man. Him in open space is dangerous. All right, so Dave, I know you asked the question when the last time y'all beat Miami. Now keep in mind when I say this, y'all only played them twice. The last time y'all beat Florida, was September 7th, 2013. But y'all only played one game in between. So y'all won yesterday or Saturday, today is Monday. Y'all last game before that was in Miami. Y'all lost 24-20, August 24th, 2019. And y'all actually won in the Swamp. The last game y'all won 21-16 in 2013. And y'all actually, since 2001, have been dominant in the series. Y'all lead the entire series 30-27.
Yeah.
But since 2001, y'all are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-2 against Florida. All the games have been relatively close, except the one in 2000. Well, the ones in 2001 and 2002 weren't close. And the one win that Florida had in 08 wasn't close. But other than that, the games were close.
As I like to say, we own Florida.
Y'all do own Florida.
I know as of lately they had more championships, but we still got more than they have.
That's kind of because they got 2 and y'all had 1, but y'all right there, and y'all should have 2 with them in that 0-2 game against Ohio State. Y'all got cheated. That was not pass interference. That was a good defensive play. The game should have been over. Y'all should have won that game. But let's get into the comments. We got Ward had full control, looked poised the whole game. Exactly. And this, I'm not gonna lie to you, Dave. Watching that game, rewatching it, I watched the end of it and I rewatched the rest. Kind of got vibes of the old Miami. Not even gonna lie to you.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but it felt just the locker room, the energy, the coach, everything felt like 01 Miami. I'm not saying we got all of those players there.
I get what you're saying.
The energy just feels like that.
Yeah. You know what got me even more? Even going down and talking to the Florida recruits and telling them, hey, y'all need to go to Miami. Y'all better come to Miami. Yeah, telling them like, yeah, we whooped y'all. Don't go here. Like that reminds me of old Miami. Like, then David Burns says Miami could have easily put up 50. I do think so. They took their foot off the gas for sure. Joe says, have fun in Wisconsin, Tyler. Hey, I mean, Tyler Van Dyke didn't have a bad game against Western Michigan. I'm not gonna lie there. He looked decent. Now it's Western Michigan. I think so let me not say that because I do think Western Michigan played a heck of a game against Wisconsin. They looked really good defensively. Defense was flying around for Western Michigan. I forgot who they play next. They play another Power 5 school next, and I wouldn't be surprised if that game is close as well. David Burns, we appreciate you because a Miami fan I know said the other word, but that was dope to behind Miami gave Florida. So I appreciate you censoring yourself. And I can keep up with the numbers, but how many home games the Gators won? Because I know they have been winning a lot at home. I ain't gonna lie, I'm not. I don't got that number right here with you. I'll let you know at a later date. But yeah, man, that was a great win for y'all. Great blowout win. If y'all don't won a close one, I wouldn't have been surprised. But y'all blowing them out in the swamp, that was kind of what gave me that vibe. But like 0-1, if y'all could keep that up, hey, I will gladly admit that y'all was right. Even though I won 11-1, so I feel like I don't really have to say it because 11-1 is really good.
You said 11-1.
They said 12-0 and I laughed at them. So if y'all try to do that, I will apologize for that. But
look, remember, I said 11-1 too. The game I'm looking forward to is when we play USF.
I'm looking forward to Louisville.
I'm looking forward to that too, but I'm saying the game, well, not the game I'm looking forward to, the game I'm watching out for is USF.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I should definitely not sleep on that game. You're 100% correct on that. Going to move on to a game that had both teams scoring a lot of points, not just one, in North Texas and South Alabama. North Texas won the game 52-38. Dare I say the Mean Green are back. I know I texted Ace that when they were balling. I was like, oh, is the Mean Green back? This might be lit. The American Conference might be in for a really good year if the Mean Green are back, mixed with UTSA, South Florida, Memphis, Tulane, all being at the top of their games. The American Conference might be really a fun treat to watch. I know it's a group of 5 conference, but hey, that's exciting football. They're the best opinion, in my opinion. I'm gonna state that. My opinion, the best group of 5 conference. I'm on the wrong notebook. I was like, how'd I get to USC? North Texas wins 52-38 again. North Texas, Chandler Morris had an outstanding game for North Texas.
Boy,
he started with a 2-yard touchdown run, which was set up by an Ikaika Ragsdale 17-yard catch. Then South Alabama started a 39-yard field goal. North Texas would then miss a 46-yard field goal, which would lead to an 8-yard Gio Lopez touchdown run. Another guy, a quarterback who had an outstanding game for South Alabama. North Texas would then score a 3-yard Damon Ward Jr. touchdown catch, who I believe he had like 200 yards in that game. Jeremiah Aaron set that up with a 26-yard catch. South Alabama scored a 32-yard field goal. Then they would score a 13-yard Fluff Bothwell touchdown run set up by a 28-yard Fluff Bothwell catch on a wheel route. He bobbled that too. Bobbled it, but he held on to it, got 28 yards on the wheel. Then North Texas would turn the ball over on downs, 4th and goal. Chandler Moore's pass is incomplete, but that would just only lead to the end of the half. I thought they should have took their points there, but they were moving the ball up and down the field. So while I do think they should have took their points, I'm not mad at them going for it. Offense just came easy in that game. South Alabama will start the second half with a 3-and-out punt, while North Texas will start the second half with a 25-yard Blair Conwright touchdown catch, set up by a Damon Ward 30-yard catch. North Texas would then score a 1-yard Chandler Moore's touchdown run, and I believe that was set up by the double pass on that possession. USA will score a 26-yard Jamal Pritchard touchdown catch, which Jamal Pritchard was just balling all night. I believe he had 170 yards. I want to say 2 touchdowns on it today. Definitely stepped up for Colin Lacey. Like I say, can he step up in that number 1 receiver role? Did that and more. Jamal Pritchard set that up with an 18-yard catch. North Texas scores a Damon Ward 34-yard touchdown catch. Then on the next drive, South Alabama was set up the punt, but the punt was blocked. Technically blocked. I think it bounced off of teammate's helmet.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought too.
He bobbled the snap, tried to get the ball away, and hit the teammate's helmet, and UNT recovers the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. The South Alabama will go down and score a 21-yard Shamar Sangren touchdown catch, set up by Devin Vising 19-yard catch. Ikaika Ragsdale for North Texas will score a 3-yard touchdown run, set up by a 21-yard Damon Ward Jr. catch. And then for South Alabama, Anthony Eagle will catch a 23-yard touchdown pass, set up by a 24-yard Jamal Pritchard catch. Then North Texas will end the game with a 30-yard field goal. South Alabama on 4th for 15 passes incomplete will lead to the end of the game. Again, offense just came in abundance in this game. Both offenses look very fluid. Chandler Morris looked really good. Like I said on the preview, on the ground and through the air, he used his legs to create multiple plays. Damon Ward Jr. came out of nowhere. As y'all remember in my preview, I said that North Texas lost a bunch on offense. They even highlighted it throughout the game. And guys like Damon Ward Jr. stepped up to the plate to replace that production, because that was one of my things. Like, who's going to replace that? He stepped up. Jamal Pritchard stepped up as the number 1 receiver. He did his thing. Just a bunch of offense. I don't want to make it seem like it was a bunch of offense, no defense, because defenses definitely tried to make plays. It's just these 2 offenses was just too overpowered. It was just too overpowered, and it just ended up being what's that 90-point total game. Dave, go ahead and talk about the game.
Girl, after you told me what games we was going to go over, and I went and looked at this game, I said, "Bruh, are they going to not score? Is someone going to get a stop somewhere? Like, sheesh." It seems like every time someone got the ball, they went down and scored. Like you said, Ward, 12 catches, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pritchard almost had 200 yards receiving. He had 10 catches for 197 and a touchdown. The court, bro, Chandler Morris and Gio Lopez, bro, combined for over 800 yards passing. That is crazy.
That's crazy. Was slanging that boy.
And they both threw 3 touchdowns. So that's 6 touchdowns for, bro. That game was crazy. And then Gio had 13 carries for 62 yards and a touchdown. So he also ran the ball too. This was a great game to watch. This was fun to watch. I see why you like North Texas. I see. This was a really good. I mean, I'm probably gonna watch it again after.
North Texas for sure.
I'm probably gonna watch this game again because this game was really, really good, man. I was impressed by North Texas, but I was impressed by South Alabama, even in the loss. 38 points, 6 of 14 on third down, 29 first downs, 582 total yards. This was an offensive masterpiece for both teams, I swear.
Yeah. Again, the Mean Green are back. Just a great game. Chandler Morris looks like he's found his home. Struggled at TCU, but it looks like he's found his home in North Texas. I normally don't do this, but I'm going to put the comment right here. Like David said, Chandler Morris, quarterback for North Texas, is something to watch this season, and I completely agree. Last year, they had Chandler Rogers, and I thought Chandler Rogers was fun to watch. If you remember 2 years ago, they had Austin Tuney, the 29-year-old at quarterback for North Texas, and he was also something to watch, but you might say he was 29, but the offense was still fun to watch. North Texas was just explosive. Receivers just creating separation, endless separation. The offense just looked fun. They were innovative. Again, they brought out the double pass, which I thought that was kind of an obvious double pass because he threw it behind him. And he had guys in front of him. So I just thought that was an obvious one. But, hey, people eyes get in the backfield. They follow the window dress and stuff like that, and they fall for it. But yeah, nonetheless, I do want to say South Alabama, if they play anybody else, they might win that game. But North Texas just that much better. South Alabama is a really good Sun Belt school. They're in the argument to try to win I believe they're on the West or something like that in the Sun Belt. I know they're the same side as Texas State, who I have winning the Sun Belt. So they're going to be up there to try to win and compete for a Sun Belt championship. But just a really fun game, and it puts you on notice for both schools, and it puts you on notice for Group of 5 football. Man, I know a lot of people just pay attention to Power 4 conferences. Group of 5 is good football too, man.
This game right here, I know I said that last year. This year for sure, I'm going to be paying more attention to Group of 5 schools. That game was amazing to watch.
Yep. And now we're going to move on to another Group of 5 school, but this time they're taking on a Power 4 school in Houston. Used to be Group of 5, and they dominated them. UNLV dominates Houston. Houston scored the garbage touchdown late. UNLV wins 27-7. I'm going to talk about what happened and we'll get into it. UNLV, I picked Houston to win, by the way. I picked Houston to win and I picked South Alabama to win. So right now there's 2 games straight I lost. UNLV starts with a punt while Houston starts with a punt. And then UNLV scores a Jacob DeJesus 13-yard touchdown run, which if I remember correctly, that was a crazy run by Jacob DeJesus. And that was set up by a 42-yard Jaden Bradley catch on an end-around pass. Houston would have a turnover on downs, 4-3. Donovan Smith gets sacked, and that would lead to a UNLV turnover on downs, 4-1. Jaden Thomas stopped for no gain. That would just lead to a 3-and-out punt. Then UNLV would score. No, this was the crazy play. The Jacob DeJesus 24-yard catch, touchdown catch set up by Jaden Bradley, 18-yard catch. Then with 1:51 left in the second quarter, UNLV would score a 21-yard field. No, they would miss a 21-yard field goal. Excuse me. And that would lead to a punt. Houston would start the second half, 3-and-out punt. UNLV start the second half with a 40-yard field goal. Then UNLV's Matt Soka throws an interception, but that would lead to Donovan Smith throwing a pick six to Jalen Catalon, the Arkansas transfer. Houston would then miss a 42-yard field goal. That would lead to a punt. Then turnover on downs for Houston, 4th and 8, incomplete pass, which would lead to a 3-and-out punt. And then Donovan Smith would throw a pick to guess who? Jalen Catalon. And that would lead to a 34-yard field goal. And then Houston would score a garbage time touchdown, 2-yard touchdown pass to Joseph Manjack from not even Donovan Smith from UILA. And Stephon Johnson set that up with a 23-yard catch. In my opinion, the score should have been more. Like UNLV should have won definitely by more than 20. In the first half, it felt like UNLV should have had like 28 points. And they only had, I think, 17. No, they had 14. They had 14 at the second half. I mean, at the end of half. And yeah, it was just like, I don't know, for some reason, UNLV would go for it, they wouldn't get it, or something would happen down the field and they wouldn't score. But Houston just couldn't do nothing. Donovan Smith couldn't do nothing. And I'm becoming more and more out on Donovan Smith. I was already questionable about Donovan Smith at Houston. Houston didn't put up many points last year. Thought Willie Fritz might be able to revitalize him in his offense. Even I think Willie Fritz is a defensive head coach, but he's a guy who wins at every level. And it just did not look good week 1. Again, the starting quarterback put up 0 points against UNLV. And UNLV is not necessarily a defensive school by the slightest. They just got straight up dominated at home. That was an embarrassing loss for Houston. You good, Dave? Go ahead.
Yeah, I picked Houston to win this game too. I wasn't expecting a blowout win against UNLV, but I thought Houston was the better team. I thought they would pull out the win somehow, but they got dominated. They were absolutely horrendous on third down. They couldn't get a first down to save their life on third down.
Donovan Smith.
2 of 15 on third down. Terrible. Now, I mean, UNLV wasn't good on third down either, but 2 of 15 is just terrible.
Yeah.
2 turnovers, 50 total rushing yards. I mean, your starting running back only had 2 carries for 17 yards. It's just you couldn't get this offense was not moving at all. This offense stinks from what I saw. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they need to do, but they need to do something to get back to what I remember Houston. Houston used to be a really good offensive team from what I've always known Houston to be.
With Clayton Tune and the boys? Absolutely.
But now it's just not good. Not good. UNLV had their way. They could have slouched in this game and just kicked off field goals and they still would have won.
Yeah. I mean, look, Donovan Smith with 15 to 30, 135 yards, 2 interceptions. That's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done. It's just not. Their leading receiver stat wise was Mekhi Muse, the transfer from Georgia, 3 catches, 57 yards. It's just not going to get it done. And what also is not this is what killed me. Ricky White, he only had 2 catches for 11 yards. He didn't even go off, and that's their best player. Their best player is Ricky White, and he didn't do anything, and you still got dominated, and you still got outgained. They got outgained 311 yards to 247, but a lot of that came late. They got outgained. It is what it is. They got dominated. Houston looks bad. I don't think I was that high on Houston, but I at least had them being UNLV week 1. I didn't have it as a blowout. I had it as a close game, like you said, but this was just real disappointing. And Willie Fritz is going to have to work really hard to turn this around.
Yeah, he is. He may have to open up some kind of quarterback competition or something. I don't know what he got to do, but the Donovan Smith, from what I see, he ain't it. And then
definitely not going to cut it.
And you said the margin of yards. Shoot, the rushing yards is where you look at 195 rushing yards against 50. That was terrible.
Yeah. So gotta go to your comments real quick. David Burns says South Alabama passing offense and running back look nice. That is very true. I do agree with that. And they still need a nickel back. Now, I'm not sure if I would say that yet, just because North Texas went crazy this one game. You know, it could be just one game. But I do agree with the first half of what you said. I would think Houston will win, but they disappointed me. Yeah, disappointed me too. That was embarrassing. And I know you from Texas. I seen you type it in multiple shows. You watch it from Texas. I think you say Cedar Hill, Texas. I don't know how close that is to Houston, but yeah, very disappointing. And he said Houston had a problem with UNLV. They had more than a problem. They boy, they got dominated. You want to say Miami put belt to behind the Florida? This is belt to behind. They should have shut them out.
Yeah, they should have. They got that touchdown because it was garbage time.
Yeah, but we're gonna move on to Michigan and Fresno State, and I almost had my moment. I picked Michigan to win. Now, don't get that confused. I know,
but
I ain't picked them to win.
This was a struggle.
But if they would have lost, forget my prediction. I would have been happy. But Michigan, Will Johnson, which I did predict. I said I threw one of my keys away. I said, this ain't a key. This is a prediction. Will Johnson will catch an interception. Ain't caught a pick 6 at the end of the game. Fresno State loses to Michigan at the Big House. Shout out my 2 op cousins who went to the game in Michigan attire. They won 30-10. Yeah, they think I ain't see that on their IG. I meant to say something to them too. Yeah, I was almost happy. My dad texted me at the end of the game talking about blowout. I'm like, what? It ended up being a blowout, but this game wasn't a blowout. But I got the real perspective from my uncle. He like, man, I don't know, man. I ain't happy with this. I'm like, yeah, thank you. Like, I get a real perspective. But let's talk about the game. So Fresno State will start with a Mikey King interception, which would lead to a Donovan Edwards 2-yard touchdown catch. Now, what I will say is on that touchdown drive, it was a short field, and they made a switch at quarterback relatively quick. They went from Davis Warren to Alex Orji, and Alex Orji is the one that threw the touchdown pass. And that was really it for Donovan Edwards' day. He did not have a good game on the ground. Didn't really do much beside that touchdown. Mm-hmm. Then with 7:35 in the second quarter, Fresno State would score a 41-yard field goal. Michigan would then score a 45-yard field goal, and then that would be it for the first half. Michigan starts the second half with a 53-yard field goal. Fresno State starts the second half with a punt. Then with 12:42 left in the fourth quarter, Michigan kicks a 55-yard field goal, which you remember the mess. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, bro, why is he making field goals from this deep? This is college. Like, what are you doing? And Fresno State scores a 16-yard Raylan Sharp touchdown catch. That was an excellent drive by Mikey Keene and the boys. Set up by a 28-yard Jalen Moss catch. But then Khalil Mullings will have a drive. Michigan will score an 18-yard Colston Loveland touchdown catch. Set up by Khalil Mullings, who had 3 carries for 42 yards. And then to end the game, Fresno State throws the pick 6. Mikey Keene throws the pick 6 to Will Johnson. Honestly, he threw 2 picks prior. One was taken away from a defensive penalty. I can't remember what it was. The second one was, I ain't gonna lie, BS roughing the passer call that took away another one. But Will Johnson called game, stepped up and caught a pick 6 on the screen, which the receiver blocked nobody. Blocked no one. Will Johnson just ran through and picked it. It was easy, but nonetheless, he made a play. Only note I wrote down was Michigan started slow. Shout out Khalil. I can't believe I'm doing this. Shout out Khalil Mullins. He had a good game on the ground. He really did. He was like one of the few bright spots of the Michigan team. Colston Loveland had a good game too at tight end. Can't forget about him. But if you're a Michigan fan, you should not be happy with that. Just like I'm not happy with that FAU win. You would want to see more improvement. I know I saw one of my friends that's a Michigan fan said, I'm not trying to watch Davis Warren for a full year. I told him I saw somewhere that Alex Orji was not going to be the starter, and he wasn't. I think Sharon Moore needs to figure out who the quarterback is. I think he can't keep doing this, taking guys out, swapping quarterback. I don't like that. It takes away a rhythm from guys. I think you just need to pick a starter and roll with them. Yeah, if you want to take him out for a play or two for like gadget stuff, that's fine. But I think he needs to establish a starter. Go ahead and talk about the game.
I think Davis Warren needs to be benched. I think the other guy should be the quarterback. That's what I think.
Not mad at you.
I think Michigan should be happy about their defense, though. They only allowed 9 yards rushing. You know, they forced 2 turnovers from Mikey King. There was a Malik Shirai had 14 carries for 24 yards. So I mean, their defense stepped up what it needed to. I mean, Jalen Moss had a pretty good game, 6 catches for 97 yards. But other than that, they were 2-11 on third down, 26 minutes of total possession. I mean, the Michigan defense was still pretty good, and I think we all expected that because Michigan is, since even though Jim Harbaugh is no longer there, while he was there, they had a pretty good defense almost every single year. But the quarterback situation is what needs an answer. You need to figure out, like you said, who is going to be the starting quarterback. Because right now, Davis Warren is not looking. He's not looking like he's the answer right now. With JJ McCarthy now in the league, and praise to him because he's out with a torn ACL.
Yeah, well said, bro.
Davis Warren, I don't know. I think the other guy should start. Khalil Mullins definitely should get some more. He had a pretty good game, 15 carries, 92 yards. Colston Loveland, like you said, 8 catches, 87 yards and a touchdown. So it could be promising. It's just you need that quarterback. You need that leader on the team that knows what they're doing on offense.
Yeah, taking off my unbiased hat. Taking off my biased hat, it can look great. I do agree with you. I think Alex Orji needs to be the starter. He has that extra dynamic with his legs, kind of what like JJ McCarthy did last year. But it just shows, man. To me, what it showed was that now it's only one game, so don't put too much stock into it. But it shows us the difference when you're not the guy on top of the scouting report. So you come in the game for Blake Corum and you're able to do great things because you're not the guy on the top of the list. But now you're the guy on the top of the list. We must stop him at all costs, and it just didn't look well for you. Now, it could be one game. So like I said, don't put too much stock in it, but that's just kind of a takeaway I had on the Donovan Edwards situation on the ground. This game was tight. The game was tight throughout. Michigan broke through late. Defensively, like you said, played well, and it's not like, okay, you can say, well, it was Fresno State, what you expect? No, Fresno State is a pretty good offensive school, even though they're a group of 5 school. Started off 8-1, kind of melted towards the end of last year, but they, in my opinion, should have won the Mountain West, but like I said, they melted, got into a tiebreaker with UNLV, lost a tiebreaker for whatever reason. I can't remember what the reason was. And UNLV played Boise State for the Mountain West, which Boise State won the Mountain West championship. But this is a pretty good Fresno State team, returning a lot of guys, and for them to do that good on defense was a step in the right direction. That's something you should hang your hat on. But offensively, it got to be better. That has to be better, especially going in a Big Ten. And then Big Ten, when you're going to need to score points, that has to be better. We'll get to the comments, and then we'll get to the last game that we're going to go over for Saturday night. David Burns says, I picked Michigan all the way. I did too, unfortunately, but wish they lost. Much respect to Fresno State. They played so tough. They absolutely did. And Michigan offense was sluggish, but their defense came out dominating. That's also true. Shout out Mason Graham, too. I hate giving shout outs to Michigan players, but shout out Mason Graham. He did have a good game as well. I forgot to shout out your boy from Miami, Tyler Barron. Shout out him. He had a great game on the edge. I definitely meant to shout him out.
My boy, Tyler Barron.
And Simeon Barrow. Simeon Barrow had a really good game, too. Oops, no, I did not mess up. All right, last game for Saturday night is a defensive slugfest. Like I thought, Notre Dame at Cal Field pulls off the quote-unquote upset because a lot of people and the books had Texas A&M winning, even though Notre Dame is not an upset college-wise because Notre Dame came in as the higher number, ranked 7th in the country. But for the books, and I think even for the public, I think this was an upset. Now, I picked Notre Dame to win the game, but again, I think in the public's eyes, they had Texas A&M winning the game. Notre Dame just made more plays at the end, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Talk about what happened. So Texas A&M starts the game with a 34-yard field goal, while Notre Dame starts the game with a 46-yard field goal. Then with 14 left in the second quarter, Texas A&M kicks a 49-yard field goal. And then with 11:07 left in the second quarter, Connor Wegman throws an interception, which leads to a 26-yard field goal. Then with, I want to say this is 8:46. I kind of messed this up. Texas A&M, Connor Wegman throws another interception, this time to Xavier Watts. Had 7 picks last year, getting started with another pick this year. But that would just lead to the end. Oh, it was 1:46 left. And that would lead to the end of the half. Notre Dame would start the second half with a turnover on downs, 4th and 1. Riley Leonard to stop short on a little quarterback power. Texas A&M blew it up. Leads to a Texas A&M turnover on downs, 4th and 8. Connor Wegman pass is incomplete. I believe that was the pass broken up by Benjamin Morrison. That would lead to a 47-yard Adrian Price touchdown run, which he just broke free and nobody was catching him. With 11:49 left in the fourth quarter, Le'Veon Moss scores a 1-yard touchdown run set up by I believe that's E.J. Smith, 14-yard run. Notre Dame scored a Jeremiah Love 21-yard touchdown run with 1:54 left in the fourth quarter, set up by Bo Collins 20-yard catch, which he was wilding. That catch he made, he wild after that. He should have got a 15-yard unsportsmanlike flag. He caught the ball, tough catch, contested, walked up on bro and pushed him. He just pushed him. And the ref was right there.
And they did nothing.
And they did nothing. Oh, they just let it rock. We saw yesterday.
Even the commentators like, whoa, he gonna have to relax because that should have been a flag.
Even Kyrie Lacey, he did the little joint like that in the dude's face. He got the 15-yarder. Bro walked up on him and pushed him, and he didn't get nothing. And then Texas A&M will turn over on downs, 4th and 2, passes incomplete. Great play by the defender. Marcus, you can see Marcus Freeman like, I told you. Looked like the defender knew what was coming. And that would lead to a 46-yard field goal to ice the game. And then you get the funny sound bite. The offensive coordinator calling passing plays for Connor Wegman, trying to throw the ball. I guess to save face. You see Mike Elk on the sideline. Run the ball. Just run the ball. He just want to get his boys out of there. Notre Dame was, like I said, a defensive slugfest. I know midway through the game, I said, let Riley Leonard push the ball down the field. And right when I said that, they started letting Riley Leonard throw the ball down the field, and he was completing passes. It felt like Marcus Freeman and the offensive coordinator was just keeping the cuffs on Riley, running the ball, making short throws, screens, stops, stuff like that. They wouldn't let him throw the ball down the field. And when they finally let him loose a little bit, they started to get bigger plays, starting to push the ball down the field, and they ended up winning the game. Dave, talk about the game.
Yeah, Riley Leonard. I mean, I hate to root against him because he's before Notre Dame, but I liked him when he was at Duke. Not gonna lie, Me too. He's a dual quarterback. He can run and he can throw. Riley Leonard, man, but I agree. I feel like they wasn't letting him really play his game for real because he was doing most of the routes they was giving these really like short slants and small post routes. I'm like, dog, let him push the ball. He got a nice little arm. Just let him do his thing. And I mean, he finished 18 to 30 for 158 yards. I mean, but that's because they wasn't allowing him to really throw the ball down the field. And Bo Collins, like you said, definitely was tripping on that call. But hey, they didn't throw the flag, so you can't say nothing about it, I guess. Jeremiah Love had a pretty good game, broke out for that touchdown, which opened up the game in that. And no, that wasn't him. He had the
Adrian Price had the one to go up 13-6.
Yeah,
that broke. Jeremiah Love had the one to go up 20-13.
Yeah, because then right after he scored the touchdown, that's when Le'Veon Moss scored the touchdown for Texas A&M, and then they went. Then Jeremiah Love went and got that that second touchdown. Then they got the field goal, and then they just pretty much iced the game. Man, now this was a defensive battle too. I picked Notre Dame to win, but I was rooting for Texas A&M for obvious reasons. You know, I'm a University of Miami fan, so we don't like Notre Dame whatsoever. But this was a really good defensive battle to watch, especially in the first half, because it seemed like neither team could really, make a big splash play to really get into the end zone. They just kept forcing field goals, and it wasn't until in the third quarter when they got that touchdown from. So this is a really good game to watch, especially it was the night game in Texas A&M.
Yeah,
with the 12 man
College Station.
Yep. That was a good game. I wouldn't mind watching that again. That was. I'm just glad it was a competitive game. I'm glad that Notre Dame didn't blow out Texas A&M. I'm just glad it was a competitive game.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be a blowout. Mike Elko is too good of a defensive head coach for that. Led Duke to have them great defenses for the 2 years. I wouldn't say great his first year, but his second year for sure, that defense was great for Duke, which led to that upset against Clemson last year. He had really good defenses at Texas A&M when he was the defensive coordinator. That's where he comes from, and that's why he got the head coaching job there. And then Marcus Freeman is a great defensive coordinator too at Notre Dame. So I knew it would be a defensive battle. I knew it wouldn't be too many points. And in the parlay chat, I told Javon to take the under. Didn't take my own advice and take the under, and the under hit easily. Not even close. They didn't. I think the under was like 45.5. So that was easy money there. But yeah, I'm really good game. I know a lot of people, when you watch defensive games, they're like, man, this game is boring. This game sucks. I love those games because it just shows that the chess match between the two teams, who's going to figure who out first. And Notre Dame just figured out Texas A&M more than Texas A&M figured out Notre Dame. And the difference in the game with 2 interceptions by Connor Wegman. Notre Dame didn't really turn the ball over. Yeah, I think they had that one turnover. I think Riley Leonard might have fumbled once or something like that. But
yeah, it was a fumble.
Yeah, but Connor Wegman, those 2 picks. I know everybody's talking about he's 3-1 as a starter. That's a small sample size, man. Especially at Texas A&M. So it remains to be seen how good Connor Wegman really is. Now, side note, I know we both root against Notre Dame. Their schedule, it's not the hardest thing ever. They're favored in their last 11 games. Their toughest games, I think. I got it right here. I got it right here because I previewed them. Nope, not this one. My bad. Other notebook. Man, y'all see these notebooks I got, bro. Trust me.
Oh, I'm about to. From what we did, I got more notebooks I got to get myself.
Yeah, I just bought 2 right before the Thursday game. Oh shoot, I'm so far ahead. Notre Dame, I know they got Georgia Tech, which that might be a tough one, but I do have them being Georgia Tech because Georgia Tech is going to rely heavily on the run, which I think Notre Dame will stop. They have Northern Illinois next, then at Purdue, then Miami of Ohio, then Louisville. So their hardest game is, in my opinion, Louisville. Then Stanford, then Georgia Tech, then Navy, Florida State, who you know I'm not high on, UVA, Army, and at USC. Their hardest games are possibly USC. If that defense is legit like it was last night, which we will talk about, the USC will be a tough one. And Louisville, those are their hardest 2 games. So, I mean, I have them going 12-0. I would love to see it not happen, but it's kind of likely to happen.
Yeah, it's you're right. It's possible. I'm hoping somebody somewhere just trips them. Just gives them that L that they need. Yeah, 1 or 2 teams, just give them the L, please.
To get them out of the playoffs. So we gotta go to the comments. Shout out David Burns, sticking with us throughout the whole hour 45, commenting, and we all appreciate that. To be glad Texas lost to Notre Dame. To be honest, glad Texas lost to Notre Dame. But then he fixes that. He says, I take that back. I mean, I wanted Texas Longhorns to lose, not A&M. Which when I saw that, I said, ooh, because who's your team? Do you have a college team? I'm assuming it's Oklahoma from this message. From this message right here, I would assume it's Oklahoma.
Sounds like Oklahoma to me.
Then he says, I couldn't get enough of Notre Dame gold helmets. They were incredible. They were. I ain't gonna lie. I don't like Notre Dame, but I'm not a hater. Those helmets are nasty. I
feel the same way about the Seattle Seahawks. Their uniforms are tough. I'm just a Niners fan. That's it.
Yeah, those helmets are beautiful. And he says, oh, he misheard. He said, I picked Illinois over Notre Dame for that game. They don't play Illinois. They play Northern Illinois. Or was it Illinois State? It's not Illinois. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, I know for a fact it's not the Illinois team. I just went away from it. I think it was Northern Illinois. Yeah, it's Northern Illinois. Shout out Rocky Lombardi. So they play, what's that, the Sun Belt? Sun Belt. No, that's not Sun Belt. That's MAC. The MAC school, Northern Illinois, not the Illinois Illini. That's a blowout.
I'm not picking Northern Illinois over Northern.
Yeah, that's a blowout. But yeah, comment your favorite school, bro. I do want to know that because you wanted Houston to win, or you thought Houston would win. You're disappointed, but then the Texas slander leads me to believe Oklahoma. So I just want to. I'm just curious what your favorite team is. As we get into our last game that we're going to recap, again, major performances will be on the end of the post game, the recap for Boston College, Florida State. But we're gonna have to talk about this upset right here. Upset in the rankings, upset in my eyes, upset in the betting public. Just an all-around upset. USC beats LSU 27-20 on a game-winning drive by Miller Moss and the boys. A great game. Absolutely great game. And they absolutely spit in my face because I said this is going to be no defense whatsoever. Me and Tony both agreed that the no defense would be played in this game. And at the end of the first quarter, it was 0-0.
It's total opposite.
Complete opposite. It was a bunch of defense played in this game. Yeah, there were big plays, but that's college football is going to happen. There was defense in this game. So let's talk about what happened. We'll get into it. So LSU gets all the way down to the 2 or the 3 yard line and turn the ball over on downs, 4th and goal. Garrett Nussmeier passes incomplete. They sent the blitz right up the middle. I believe the center double team, the defensive tackle and the linebacker ran right by him. Garrett Nussmeier was able to escape, but didn't buy himself much time, threw the ball. And I think CJ Daniels broke right. The ball went left, incomplete. Leads to a punt, though. And then with 11 minutes in the second quarter, USC scores a 2-yard Woody Marks touchdown run, set up by a 24-yard amazing Kyron Hudson catch. Now, I believe he dropped it. I think the hard part, he caught it, but when he got to the ground, the ball caused him to drop it. But it was hard to overturn it. The hype of the catch, they said it stands, which means there's not enough evidence to overturn it. So it stands as a catch. LSU would then score a 19-yard Kyron Lacey touchdown, set up by Mason Taylor at 3 catches for 29 yards. Kyron Lacey hit the little jank, got the 15-yard sportsmanlike penalty, and doubled down on the sidelines. He did it again. So I guess he had no remorse for that. USC would then score a 22-yard field goal set up by Zachariah Branch, 46-yard return, which was set up because of that penalty. That's why I brought it up. Because of that penalty, they kicked from the 20. Zachariah Branch, one of the most explosive returners in college football. Can't get him in open space. Almost took it to the crib. The kicker made an excellent tackle on Zachariah Branch.
Because if he did not, he was gone.
He was gone. And then LSU would score a 45-yard field goal. And then USC would miss a 29-yard field goal right before the half. Again, 10-10 at halftime. USC would come out to start the second half with a 3-and-out punt, while LSU would start the second half with a 3-and-out punt. And then USC would draw first blood in the second half with a 35-yard field goal. LSU will return this favor with a 13-yard Aaron Anderson touchdown catch set up by John Emery 39-yard run. With 8:38 left in the fourth quarter, USC turnover on downs. Miller Moss passes incomplete. LSU sent the house. Ball got tipped, almost intercepted, but it was incomplete nonetheless. Leads to a 3-and-out punt. And then USC scores a 28-yard Jacoby Lane touchdown catch. Set up by Kyron Hudson. Another amazing catch. No. The second one was the catch. But he had a 20-yard catch on that one. LSU would tie the game with a 31-yard field goal. I felt like Garrett Nussmeier missed an easy throw on second down, which led to the field goal. Then USC scores a 13-yard Woody Marks after an amazing 20-yard catch by Kyron Hudson and targeting call, which Gilbert got ejected for. Then Garrett Nussmeier would throw a pick to end the game, but it was 8 seconds left. They were on their 25. It was kind of hard to score there. And that would lead to the end of the game. Now, some notes I had for this one. Again, Garrett Nussmeier kind of melted at the end, missed an easy throw on 2nd and 7 in the flats. Then on 3rd down, I believe he missed another throw, which would lead to the field goal. Miller Moss stepped up huge after that field goal. I remember I told my brother and my mother, I think USC is going to win it because even if LSU ties it up, USC goes down and scores and wins the game. And that's what happened. Miller Moss took him right down. Made big throws, some in pressure situations, some with a clean pocket. And Kyron Hudson stepped up, made a one-handed catch, got the target and still held onto the football. Woody Marks, I don't know if they let him score or if he just broke a tackle. It looked like he made a guy miss, and the guy at the end just couldn't get him down. And that was all she wrote, man. USC defense looks miles ahead better than last year. Miller Moss still looks like the guy from the Holiday Bowl. Just absolutely had a great game. Both of these quarterbacks look like the same guy from their bowl games. It just USC made more plays. LSU didn't take advantage. Dave, talk about the game.
Second straight year, LSU loses a early game. Third straight year, sorry, because last year they lost to Texas. This year they lose to USC.
Last year 2 years straight they lost to Florida State, and then last year they lost. This year they lost to USC. Because remember, me and Joe had that Jaden Daniels, Jordan Travis debate right after the first one.
My bad. Texas beat Alabama last year. That's what it was. That's what okay, yeah. But, 2 years straight, lost to Florida State, and then this year losing against USC. Man, USC, it's about time that their defense stepped up when they needed it to. And it stepped up at a time in an important game against LSU. LSU is, of course, one of the high-powered teams in the SEC. You know, you got Alabama, you got Georgia, you got other teams in SEC that you really got to watch out for. Ole Miss with Jackson Dart. Oh my goodness,
my boy coming for that offensive player of the year, that Maxwell.
But this was a good game from Miller Moss. Definitely showed that what happened in the bowl game is no slouch, and that's who he is.
I gotta cut you off because Joe gonna kill us if we don't mention this. Texas is also in the SEC now, so we gotta mention Texas, or Joe will kill us.
Texas and Oklahoma, yes, I know they're both in the SEC now, but we'll get to that when they play someone in the SEC this season. But this is gonna be. I feel like this might be a good year for the USC. I really feel like it might be.
I'm about to eat them 20 words
because they're in the Big Ten, right?
Yeah. I got their schedule right here too. Whenever you're done.
Yeah, that's. I don't know, Carl. I think they might win more than 4 games this year now.
I do too. I think they will too.
I think they might win the 4 games. I think they may. I think they could win 7, 8 games this year. Honestly, the way they played against LSU, they definitely can. With Miller Moss, Lincoln Riley in that offense, I think it's yeah. LSU played good too. Don't get me wrong. LSU played good too, but this was a heck of a game by USC and that USC defense.
Yeah, I'm looking at the schedule right now, bro. And if they could continue to play like they played last night, I would flip the Minnesota L to a W. I already have them beating Wisconsin. I still don't think they beat Michigan, unfortunately. I would flip. So either, well, at best, I would give them 6-6. No. Oh, hold on. Where's the UCLA? Okay, so these are the games I would flip. There's only 2 games I would flip. I would flip Minnesota, which that would give them 7, 6 right there because LSU's flipped, so that's 5. Minnesota would flip, that's 6, and I would flip UCLA after watching what I seen against Hawaii. I would flip that to a W, so that got them at 7-5, and that would put them at 5-4 in the conference. So that's same year as last year. But those are 2 games I would flip. I wouldn't flip Michigan, in the big house.
No.
I have them beating Wisconsin. I would not flip Penn State, even though they're at home. I don't think I would flip that game. I have them beating Maryland. I have them beating Rutgers. I wouldn't flip Washington just yet, especially because it's at Washington. And I wouldn't flip Nebraska because Nebraska's a pretty good defense. And if Dylan Raiola, if he really that guy, like I think he is, I'm not flipping that. And then I wouldn't flip Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I'm not. I know. I want to, but I'm not right now. Take the bias aside.
I am. That's why I'm saying because it's a close game to me.
I think it's a close game. I just think Notre Dame wins it.
I still give the edge to Notre Dame, but it's definitely close. Definitely close.
Yeah, for sure. Because Notre Dame, USC had a better offense last year, and Notre Dame shut that down. Caleb Williams got shut down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think I still get him. But hey, Teddy, no, I'm not 100% right, and when I'm wrong, I'll admit it. So look at all the apologizing I had to do for Louisville last year. Ain't no thing to me.
That's facts.
And I ain't got nothing against USC. So I would gladly come on here on my platform and admit I was wrong about USC if they continue to play like they played last night. But
one of our players came from USC, my boy Hufanga. So I'm
tell Noah. Bro, I'll be USC, bro. I remember I watched him for the first time. I was like, bro, this man making plays. And then I peeped him on the 49. I'm like, oh, that's bro from USC. Yeah, that was bro nasty.
Yeah, my boy be training with Troy Polamalu. So
USC alone. David, you still yet to give us your favorite team in college. I need to know that information after the Texas.
Yeah, we've been waiting for a minute.
Yeah, I'm waiting on that.
I see everything else.
I see your comment right here. Oh snap! They playing the Huskies, not to find the line out. Sorry, fellas. It's all good, bro. It's all good. But we want to know your favorite college football team after the Texas Lander, because
if you have one,
if you have one. If not, then you just don't like Texas. And you from Texas? Maybe you just grew up not liking them. Maybe Texas fans around your area were obnoxious because maybe you grew up around the Colt McCoy era and they were winning and you ain't like it. It's fine with me. I personally mess with Colt McCoy, but it's fine with me. Maybe you feel like Texas is overrated. Maybe you ain't like the Vince Young and them boys. I don't know, but I need to know if you have one. Who's your favorite college football team before I sign out? This 2-hour episode, which that's all the recaps we got for y'all. We wait on David Burns' favorite team because I'm very curious. Shout out Dave for
if not, I found you on Facebook, so I'll ask you.
Yeah, and shout out my boy Dave for coming through, recapping these Saturday and Sunday games with me. It's been a long episode. I know you had a long episode with R2L. Any last words for the people?
Nah, man. Not really, but shout out to Ricky Pearsall, who's now home out of the hospital, and he's going to be on the PUP list for the first 4 games. So glad that you're doing a lot better. Other than that, thank you for having me on the show. Always glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, special shout out to Ricky Pearsall, man. Get well soon. It's unfortunate that you can't do and wear whatever you like because you worked hard for it. There's always someone trying to, negativity is always around the corner. I'll just say that. It's unfortunate. Oh, wow. We got the answer. And it's very shocking. I'm not even going to lie to you.
That is extremely shocking.
Northwestern Wildcats. That is shocking. And now I need an explanation of why the Texas Slander won and why Northwestern too. Even shout out Venerick Mark, man. I was a huge Venerick Mark when I was in college. He was in college at Northwestern. I really liked him. He played when they had Trevor Siemian, and I'm blanking on I think, was it Braun? I can't remember. Y'all was splitting quarterbacks though. It was Trevor Siemian and somebody else. I can't remember who it was.
Did you go to school there?
Yeah, if you went to school there, it makes sense. But I need to know why the Texas Slander, and then you're a Northwestern fan. It was just very out of left field.
That was so random. I was not expecting that answer.
But shout out Northwestern, man. I ain't got no issue with y'all. Sucks that the Pat Fitzgerald thing happened too, man. I'm really sad about that for y'all because Pat Fitzgerald, I liked him as a head coach. He was an all-time great linebacker for y'all.
Crazy.
It just sucks. That was just a huge blow for the program, but. New coach stepped in. Y'all did well, and y'all got a bowl win against Utah. So that was great. That was really great. And he got the job. So, but like I was saying, I appreciate Dave for coming on the episode, rocking out with me 2 hours. I know you had a long day doing a lot of sports talk. And we got one more game tonight, which I can't wait for. Florida. Meant to ask you, who you got tonight and why?
I forgot who plays tonight. Honestly.
Florida State and Boston College. It's at Florida State.
I got Florida State. I hope Boston College wins, but I got Florida State.
Okay.
Okay.
Similar enough. Okay, that makes sense. I respect it. I definitely respect it. True story. I got accepted there and couldn't afford the women board and had to go to a city college. Hey, man, I respect it. I definitely respect it, bro. At least you got accepted. That's a good thing in itself. I know.
Yeah. You ain't got to tell us.
Yeah, you ain't got to tell us. I got a guy that lives in Chicago, my boy Luke, and I kind of found out through him. Yeah, Northwestern's prestigious school, so I do know that. But you heard it first. Dave agrees. We both have Florida State winning. I think it's going to be a close game. Just because Florida State, I think Florida State does better against the run this time, but Boston College is a run-heavy school. They're going to break a couple runs. Boston College also is a pretty decent defensive school. I think that would be better. So I'm excited to see what they do. And again, I'm not high on DJ Ungulate, so don't really see too many blogs. But now I'm really done because I told you at the beginning I was going to ask him. Forgot. There you go. And then shout out David Burns again for rocking with us for 2 hours. Shout out Northwestern. Y'all are in the Big Ten, so y'all don't get too many shout outs because I'm an MSU fan. But I don't think we play each other, so that's fine. I'm going to be back again after the game. Going to be back after the game to talk about the game and give my major performances. Y'all already know 2 of them. If you don't know 2 of them, one Joe talked about, and the other one, I'll just say Statue of Liberty. That should kind of give it away for the school I'm talking about. But y'all enjoy these last hour and 20, I say hour and a half before kickoff. Enjoy the baseball that's on, whatever sport that's on. But make sure y'all tune into that 7:30 kickoff. Boston College, Florida State. But I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all at the next episode.